Thank you.
Last week you dodged us.
Yes. Last week I was hijacked at Peace FM.
The people at the ship house.
Yes. And so I'm sorry for not coming. I was actually coming, but you were only going to give me 5 minutes. And it wasn't prudent to do that.
Yeah, Philip was in a hurry to go and eat skincare at home. So we couldn't have taken.
Good to see you all again.
Thank you. You're wearing black.
Yes.
You went to the funeral?
Yes, we are mourning. This is not what I wore to the funeral.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Most of our traditional wears can sometimes
also qualify for party.
So, yes, right after I wore something light.
Oh, okay.
TT, our own TT.
Yes.
I met the Papason. I met Miki Osebe, some great actors.
Yeah.
And actresses. I hear now we can use actors for both.
Yes.
So, great actors. And what I observed, which wasn't pleasant, was that I've mentioned this before. I've said this before, that it looks like there's a crack between the old and the new practitioners of the art. So anytime you have to meet in the name of an old person, you find old people. If it is about new school, you see new school performers.
Yeah.
Which I think it's not good. We must clean or wipe off that crack so that we can get the synergy we're looking for, especially with film, because you are likely to find a parent or grandfather in a movie.
True.
So the old are important to the young people in filmmaking, and the young people are equally important to the old in filmmaking. And so when we begin to see gaps like, oh, this is for the old, this is for the new, it gives me a clue that it affects even casting.
True.
Because it's a mindset.
True.
So if the mindset originally already differentiates the old and the new, then you are likely to find more of Lewin playing the old man role in movies, because they still want to work with their contemporaries, and it must be fixed. Let's all think through and find a midpoint.
But I'm not surprised it happened that way. I don't know if you saw my tribute yesterday on Facebook.
No.
I kind of anticipated it would be like this. I kind of felt the industry wouldn't show up. And
why?
It was just okay. Traditionally when let me also say good afternoon to Uncle Kennedy and my brother George Britton. How are you doing? Uncle Ken?
Yes, George.
How's the family?
Oh, fine, thank you.
Yes.
And you?
We are blessed. I mean,
it's been a hectic week.
Yes, it has.
A week full of violence.
Yes, and juju.
Violence-induced week.
And juju. Yes. And people who want to go on protest with their own arms.
I'm saying violence-induced week. From Monday to Friday, violence.
Oh God. Anyway, so Honorable, as I was saying, I mean, traditionally, when somebody passes, the body belongs to the family.
Yeah.
The family determines what will happen. The family sends out the communique. The family informs. I was asking Philip early on, and Joy FM as an organization, for instance, didn't even get to hear the news. I mean, it's not by accident that when people pass, announcements are made on mass media. You understand? I'm yet to hear of any media organization that says that, TT's family brought us the announcement, or the family to say that, we went to Joy FM and they asked that bill they gave us was too high. I don't think Joy FM would have taken a peswa to announce that, TT is going to be buried on so and so, because a lot of the industry folk that I have spoken to claim they did not know that it was today. So I think at least spreading
I do not agree totally. If we had been told that we're going to distribute some money pretty soon, I am sure we would have shown interest in when.
But Honorable, that's good news.
So we must show interest in our veterans. For me, my interest is not just when they die, but when they are alive.
Yeah.
We must go to them and tap knowledge. I am privileged. Most of the veterans in the music industry, I met most of them from what's his name, Kwesipi's dad. Okay, that's a test for.
No. I know. I've had a conversation with him.
I have the name now. So I want to see
it's not coming, but I know. I know. Ejeku, yes.
Ejeku to his boss, Yamwes.
Yes.
Master Kwabena Kwabwa. almost Alex Kunedu. I met all of them. I engaged them. We spoke. Tommy Redu,
Osei Kofi.
Even the Osei Kofi, all of them. And so you could tell that my strength in music, I got it from some of those people. Because my foundation was good.
Yeah.
A lot of the young ones do not have that. And it's not late. Wrinkle is not a curse. Wrinkle is wisdom.
True.
We tend to think that, these old people. Oh, these old people. If those old people, you call them today and they put a band together and they play, you run away.
True.
What they can play, you cannot.
True.
They have these secrets that you must go and adapt some for your own future. We in the West, if Quincy Jones is mentioned, the whole hall will rise.
They get up and salute.
Let's find out how many young people know what is happening to the Nampedu funeral.
None of us.
We are waiting for family.
Yeah.
You know, I understand today too is 1 week celebration of the Nancy PSC.
We have no idea.
Because we our default setting will not permit us to show interest.
Nancy PSC, that's police about, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But if you know Nancy PSC very well, it's not police about you talk from or you mention from. You mention
no, our generation no police about.
Then you come to Untu's Parliament.
Yeah.
With people who will be the
Yeah.
all of that before your police about. But I was very close to Nancy and PSC. We are that close. If I play his last audio for you to hear, you could tell that we are that close. And before I go, remind me, I'll play his last audio. I'll play his last audio for you to hear. Yes.
I'd love to hear it.
Yes.
I'd love to hear it. That's nice.
His last album that he brought to me, he wanted me to produce. I told him that this one, my money cannot invest into this. The title of the song is ambiguous. You know those titles that you cannot really tell what they mean.
Is it the one you and Nii Abossey have been mentioning?
No.
Okay.
This one, the title was Adepa and Nii also. I said, oh, not to mess up my.
And there's a George Bridge in body.
You know, at the time, how do you call it? Is it Beard Gang? At the time, Beard Gang was not in vogue. I am sure if he had brought it a few months ago, because now it's in vogue. But it could connote other things.
Yes, true.
And so I ran away from such productions. So I am saying that we are a family. The creative industry is a family, and we should treat it as such.
Yeah, you're right.
If we do not do that, George, be sure that you two, when you are no more, in the next, how many years from now?
Oh, give me about 70.
Okay, in the next 70 years.
This height, what should you grab here forever? We are vampires.
Okay, let me tell you one from the president of Ghana. We had gone to tell him about Anatufo's death. So he said, Anatufo, how old was he? So we mentioned Anatufo's age. I think 60 something. Oh, he died that young.
Yeah.
And then a few seconds they said, oh, I'm sorry. It's not that young. It's because of my age.
Yeah, exactly.
So sometimes your age could make you relatively think somebody is young.
Yeah, but the good news is that short people we live longer. I
am not in that conversation.
we live very
I'm not
long.
in that conversation.
Yes. Anyway, Honorable, good afternoon again.
Good afternoon, George.
Let's go straight into it. A few weeks ago, I saw some article online that some people had gone to visit Tyler Perry Studios or something like that. And I was looking to see that, and during the visit, Honorable Dr. Awal Mohammed or his deputy, Honorable Mako Krikumante, or even the GTA boss, but none of you, nobody from the NFA, nothing. And when we speak Tyler Perry Studios, I think we are talking to us, creatives and all that. How is it? Is it the investment promotion people or something and not us? I don't know how that happened.
Okay. I would want to say thank you to the one who even wrote the story.
Yeah.
For putting spotlight on that visit. The only challenge is that his address or how he addressed the CEO of GIPC, Mr. Yufi Grant, was not in the right light. He said flamboyant CEO.
Yes, I agree. He should have just said stylish.
I agree. or can you say a dandy?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So flamboyant could connote something else.
True.
And so it wasn't the right direction. But the idea was that occasionally GIPC does road shows. The concept is that they go around the world and sell the sellable concepts in Ghana to the other parts of the world. And so this time they chose to sell the creative side to the world. So we were invited. Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture was invited. Trade was invited. And I'm sure some other ministries. So you saw some other people
Yes.
in the pictures who were not from.
Yes.
Yes. But you know, trade, JIPC is under trade anyway.
True.
So they invited their mother ministry or sector ministry. We were unable to go because at the time we had been told to reduce spending. At the same time, we didn't have budget. Again, Dr. Awa and Mr. Kwesi Ajiman both of them were in London around the same time launching Destination Ghana. And so my minister, which is Honorable Awa, will always tell me to stay behind if he is not available. And he makes sure that he's also there when I'm not available.
Yeah.
That is how we operate. And so when he's outside Ghana, there's no way you'll find me outside Ghana. So I was the only one available. But because my boss was not in town, I couldn't have gone with them. The good side is that they went to engage the team of Tyler Perry to consider Ghana in their next action in case they want to build any other studio. And so because no minister went, Tyler too, in hierarchy, that's how it works.
Exactly.
The CEO will want to meet the minister. The club minister was not available. I think the business development manager or something met the team. Because of that conversation, she's actually coming to Ghana next month.
Oh, great.
Yes. And after that, we are invited again. Tyler is ready to meet the minister again so they can discuss further. So that is the rationale behind the team that went to Tyler Perry studio without the ministry. But we are involved. We know about it. We all know that GIPC works for all the ministries.
True.
Anything that they can sell. Mansa Musa, you can pitch to them. They will sell Mansa Musa for you. I have personally taken somebody who wanted to produce soap to GIPC. They give us a team, engaged us, spoke the business language. At the end of the day, the lady came back to me and said, even if they were unable to help, they have shown good faith.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So, if I get you right, a studio is going to be built.
We are pitching.
Okay.
We are pitching to the Tyler Perry team or Team Tyler Perry to consider Ghana if they have to build a studio outside USA.
Okay.
So that is the conversation for now.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
Yes. If you want me to tell you some of the things we want to add to some of the Tyler Perry concept you've heard of, Honorable Dr. Awao is also talking to the ambassador or High Commissioner to Ghana, South African High Commissioner to Ghana, to have Ghana in South Africa Week. And if it should come off, we are eyeing this August, I think 2 months from now, between the 16th of August and 21st thereabout. The idea is that South Africa is ready to give us a place to showcase what we've got in terms of our culture, our creatives, and any other thing, tourism we want to sell. And so Dr. Awao will be in South Africa to launch the African side of Destination Ghana.
Great.
Everything going well. So that is the idea. Next month, we are likely to take some of you to Kumasi to see where we've got into with the Creative Arts School.
Nice.
Which has the theater I mentioned, and because I'm taking you because some people do not believe. So you go and see for yourself. And then now we've added an amphitheater to it in the same school. Last week, Kwesi Abossey was of the school, or is, I don't know if he's changed his mind, but he was of the school that why do we want to put a theater in a school as in an institution where academic institution where people study, and we want to give it to like a national product that people can go there and have their events. The concept is that we want the student to let me use the right term. I want the student to be part of the making of event activities, so that they don't become theory students or graduates. Most of the time they learn in the books, but practical becomes a problem. So you can decide that your next VGMA you want to take it to Kumasi, and automatically, because it's going to happen in that hall, some of the students will be put on board as interns to learn on how Ghana Music Awards is produced, plus some other events. So although it's in the school, it is a hall for everyone. Just like they say Kolebu is a teaching hospital.
Yeah.
But we all go there when we are unwell.
Honorable, I like the idea. But I have a plea. I like the fact that we are building a new theater, a new creative school and all that. But when we go to our own School of Performing Arts, Lagos,
Yes.
Honorable, there's a theater there that has been abandoned for
Yes.
almost 25 years.
Yes.
We have a documentary on it, but my producer is, Chief, what I say?
You shot it a very long time ago.
Yes. My producer wants to be politically correct. He wants to tell a story of before and after, so that documentary ends with a complete structure, So we've been trying to, push the right knobs, and we just want to make an appeal.
Yeah, I've been talking to. I mean, this is not the first time you are mentioning this to me.
Yes.
This is about the fifth or sixth time.
Yes.
I've been talking to the Deputy Minister for Education, Honorable Intim Fojo.
Yes.
He even gave me an appointment so we could all go together and see the project.
And see the place, yeah.
Even the Kumasi one that I'm mentioning is under the Ministry of Education.
Education, yes.
Yes, but because we the people from the Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture have an interest
Yes.
because of the creative side. That is why I'm showing all the interest, and it's one government. We
Yeah.
must work together for cohesion
Definitely.
and synergy. And so I will go back to him. I'm sure he's heard you for some reinforcement in the communication, so that they will go and see, and then they will advise, because the Ministry of Tourism and Culture cannot go and renovate that building.
Very
it's
true.
not under our ministry.
Very true.
We have done that to the National Museum.
Yeah.
So next week President is going to open or launch.
And it's looking good. Congratulations.
Yes.
I don't know, Chief, have any of you seen the National Museum? Uncle Ken, have you been to the National Museum lately?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should. You should. It's looking really good. It's looking very good.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that one.
And we are going to.
Yes, close by, near the psychiatric hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Say again.
The skeleton still there.
Yeah, it's looking very good.
Yes. So on Friday, we'll invite you all to come and help us launch the new museum. I understand this is the first time it's had renovation after
Independence.
independence,
Yes.
1958.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah. Kwame Nkrumah Park has been closed down
yes.
to renovate or give it a facelift, just like we've done to the museum again, so we can increase visitors, and then give the first president of the land the befitting character. And so let people know the good intent behind the closure. Q1 next year, everything going well, we should be back.
Okay, so the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park is going to open in Q1 2023.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And we are looking at not making, repeating what we've seen over the years. What about making the museum a hub for maybe restaurant, recreational, some trees where if you are tensed in town, from your check didn't go through, you want to go visit in the afternoon, there is a place that you can go and sit while away the time. We lack some of those things in the capital.
We don't have parks. That's the thing. We don't
Yes.
have parks at all.
Yes.
We don't have
So
parks.
we want to embellish the museum with some of these
That
things.
will be fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uncle Ken, I knew you'd love that. Anybody who's lived in the UK,
That will be fine.
when you come to Accra, that is one of your biggest problems. If you've been in London for a while, because in London almost every borough has a park.
Yeah.
There's a park. You walk 15 steps, there's a park. And you know, Kwesi Cheidakwa, friend KKD, lives in South Kensington, and his house is opposite. You know, there's a park. It's a private park, and he likes to boast that he's the only black man who's got access to the park. You know, it's quite interesting though. Yes. So I think that's a brilliant idea.
Yes, and so we need everybody on board. We gave you some promises in 2016. We added some, not too much, in 2020.
Where's Sadiq?
Where's Sadiq when you want him, eh?
And we told you that President Akufo-Addo was committed in developing this industry. You've already started seeing some of the signs. We are going to we're going to put some amphitheaters around the country.
George.
Yes, Uncle Ken, you can come in.
Yeah. Mark,
Yes.
thank you for coming.
But I'm not done. Oh,
Oh, no.
Oh no, we want to make it a conversation.
Okay.
So, yes.
I didn't say you were done.
okay, sorry. But I didn't say my name was done.
It's always nice to have you here telling us what's going on, because that has been my problem.
Yes.
As my folks will tell you.
Communication.
We hardly get to know what's going on. So when you come and you tell us what's going on, I get happy. On this matter of this film studio, I keep hearing different information about film studios being constructed in Ghana. Started off with this Kumawood thing. Yeah, that one. And a chief was supposed to have given you some land, and there was a little tussle. George, you remember?
I remember.
As to where it had to be situated initially, before maybe you agreed to put it in Kumasi or somewhere of that.
Yeah.
That's one. Not
Yeah,
too
it
long.
was originally was Eastern with
Eastern.
Mr. Gabriel Chedakon's support getting us land in Eastern.
That's right. And people
then-
objected to it.
Yes.
Yeah, and all that. Now that was how many years ago, George? About 3 years
Yeah,
ago. Or
that was
4
about
years
3 or
ago.
4 years
I mean,
ago, I
long,
think.
long
About
time.
4.
Yeah, about four.
About 4.
Mm.
Yeah.
The intention of putting up a studio, that was one.
Yeah.
Then not too long ago, early this year, or a couple of months ago or weeks ago, I heard a certain gentleman being interviewed, taking some investor to the western region or central region,
Another Krabo.
something
Yes.
like to that effect,
Yes.
for another studio to be built
Yeah.
there, you know.
Yeah.
Then comes what you've just talked about,
The school.
Tyler.
the Tyler
The
Perry,
Tyler collabo.
thing. That's also talking about a studio to be built
I think there's one actually happening, or is yet to happen somewhere in Akosombo.
in Ghana.
I heard so,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, and George, did you know that a couple of days ago, the National
The
Film
NFA.
Authority
Yeah, I was just about to mention it, but go ahead.
also
Yeah.
came out
Yeah.
to tell us about a deal with the Pixel, what's the name of the Pixel Ray Studios?
Yeah.
To come and put up an ultra modern studio in Ghana. So then I sit down and scratch my head and I say, what's going on? How many studios are going to be splattered all over this country for us? And who is looking at things so that things become centralized for us, the partners who are interested, to maybe come together and put an edifice that will be befitting to the status of the industry or something? Because when I hear different entities wanting to come and put up, I say to myself, wow, how's this going to be possible?
It is possible.
I believe so too.
Yeah, it is possible. Because if you've not seen the gravity of studios that the person is bringing on board, some of the studios are not as large as you have pictured in your mind.
Not necessarily large.
And again, for a country that does not have, so to speak, a studio at the moment, what stops us from getting more than 1 or 2?
You know, because you see, let me just quote the NFA, for instance,
all right,
to make my point.
Okay.
Pixel Ray Studios, a global television and film studio development and production company, has solidified a partnership with the National Film Authority of Ghana to construct 10 sound stages on over 200 acres of property in Ghana. In addition to the sound stages, the multi-use facility will include state-of-the-art production space and equipment, as well as post-production suites with a globally trained and locally based crew to serve all production needs. George, my only thing was that it's like a replica of all the others that have been intentioned.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, it sounds like a replica of all the others that have been intentioned. And that's why I posed the question as to why, because Mark, you yourself talked about a music studio
Yes.
before you you became minister.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes, I
yes.
Yes, I remember.
So I keep hearing about intentions, and yet to see
Any execution,
any
actually.
execution of the intention.
Yes.
Oh no, before you come in, I mean, for me, to add to what Uncle Kenna said, I like the idea. If we are going to get 2 million studios, let's get them.
Fair enough.
Yes.
But will they come?
Let us get them. Well, I mean, for me,
That's my problem.
I'm in for the more, because you see, what would happen eventually is that if we have all these studios and we have all these international collaborations and there's an exchange of knowledge, and the rest of Africa or even West Africa would know that you want quality music production, go to Ghana. That alone is some sort of tourism for me. You understand? So I am in. So I agree with you. I mean, so I think let's bring in more, but let's ensure that they actually do materialize.
Exactly.
Right? Yes, I think.
Once
I think,
one
yeah,
is underway and another is
It's
being
com-
done,
yes.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I get you.
it is driven by the private sector. It is not the government that is actually building the ones you've heard of.
Yeah.
It's powered by
Private
the
sector.
private sector. And so if you have maybe too many looking at the demand and supply equation where we cannot find any equilibrium in this, then there's a problem. But if the supply is going to meet demand, even if they are 5 or they are 10, I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah.
It is the way it is because we were the same people. If I say we, I'm not talking about the people of Ghana, I'm talking about the government. We've made enough noise about studios from Honorable Awa's vetting, myself, and other people have mentioned, even Mr. Gabriel Chidakon. Everybody is showing interest in that film studio. So I'm sure whilst I'm talking to somebody in China, somebody else is talking to somebody in US.
Correct.
But the fact that we are talking does not mean that all of them are going to come to fruition. So it is better to have a bigger pool and get a few than to say that, oh, we have 2, so we don't want to hear more.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's perfect. My only worry is to see one being executed.
I'll let you start.
Then I can sit back and say, okay,
say, yeah.
something is being done. So
Yeah.
if something else is added, I don't have a problem with having too many. My only problem is to see the execution or the start of some of these projects.
Okay, with the Nana Krabo one, I met the investors.
That's the one for Cape Coast.
Yes,
No,
the Central
is that
Region.
the
Central
one?
Region.
Central Region. I
Yeah.
thought they could- yeah.
And then they showed me drawings. But, I mean, God even started or created the world through communication.
Yeah.
So, as for the talk, we hear some of the talk. It doesn't mean that the fact that you're hearing the talk and things are not happening, it means that the talk is also not important.
Yeah.
Dialogue is important. Some of them, even if I tell the number of people who come to my office in the name of investors, sometimes you are tempted to, to say that I won't see them. But how would you be able to tell
Anyway,
the one who means well and the one who doesn't mean well? So you should have that shock absorber to tolerate everybody. You'll be surprised the one that you least expected the studio from could be the one who will bring the things on board.
Yeah.
And so in the meantime, let's tolerate all these. For us as a ministry, the ones we have control over are the ones I'm talking about for now. Because the Kunsu and such a one, the reason for not getting information on them is because we are looking for money to start. Film studios, let's face facts, are
they're not cheap.
cheap.
Very expensive.
Yes.
Not cheap.
And you cannot go and do them halfway because most the technology, they are interrelated.
True.
So if you go and build one and leave the other one, the results will not come out the way we're expecting. So we want to take the right steps at the right time.
Right time.
For now, we are getting some budget to put around some of the amphitheaters we are talking about. We are saying amphitheaters because if you look at a place like Alliance or Plus 233, Uncle Ken's home, you will notice that they've built a place such that any artist who go there, you are likely to make some good gate fee.
True.
Uncle Ken and Amwa.
True.
Because every weekend they make sure something happens there. So there's a fundamental clientele base that when they come, whether somebody's performing or not, because they know most of the time, Dr. Odwe, Mr. Q, and Uncle Ken, the caucus will give you
Something
some good
good.
treat. If we build some of these amphitheaters around, if we get some good managers to manage them, Samini can decide that, okay, I know we have about this number of event places in Ghana. From January to December, I am planning my performances. I know that each of them I'm not going to spend because I'll get the hall anyway to partner me. I'll get multimedia to partner me with publicity. All I'm taking on board, I'm bringing on board is performance. So when I finish and they give me my share, I'm not a loser anyway. I share the risk. And if we have a number of these performance grounds around the country, he can plan his life at the beginning of the year and knows at the end of the year, compare the beginning. Your boy, Camido, can do same. And when we do that, all these amphitheaters can also plan with you. But they know that every weekend there's something happening.
So you're talking about capacity of about 500.
500, 600, maximum.
Okay.
And everybody will be busy.
True.
Not too difficult to fill the place. You can, if you, what we call appeal. I hear it's from the word appeal. If the people say they want more, yeah, you can tell the manager of the place that can I come back next week or next 2 weeks because they want more of me.
Yeah.
That's a
And
good
Plus
idea.
233 is my pilot. I did a show for Kwame Eugene at 233.
Yeah.
Kwame Eugene, what's the name?
Was it the
the
Heroes
name of
thing
the-
or something?
Hero.
Heroes
Good.
concert. Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
saw her because there was already
It
a
was
stage.
in partnership with Joy at the time, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yes,
Yes, it was
yes,
Joy. Yes,
it was a Heroes concert.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hate Joy. Yes,
Yeah,
at
Joy.
the time,
We
yes.
all came there.
It was successful,
That was the first
It
time I
was.
saw Kwame Eugene perform.
Yeah.
and I saw how much we made. And if you take the same budget and say you want to do the same show for Kwame Eugene at a National Theatre or any other dome, the cost that will go into that show, if you compare the two, it is better to do a 233 or an amphitheatre or Alliance Française than to pick any of the big halls.
Yeah.
A Sarko there, a Stone Boy can decide they want to go there.
The big holes. Yeah.
Yes, now Kwame Eugene and Kidi are also getting
They can
there.
also.
Yes.
So when you've built your larger following, then you can move it to a
Yeah.
larger hall.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
it makes
for
sense.
newer,
Yes.
it makes a lot. So Kweku the traveler can travel to Cape Coast.
Togo.
Yeah.
Yes.
It makes a lot of sense.
Sadiq, so Kweku the traveler can travel to Cape Coast for his show.
Yeah.
Build a client base.
But did
and then-
you introduce him before you asked him the question?
Uncle Ken, are you the host?
I'm asking you because I
that's the
didn't
way-
know he was here.
Sadiq, welcome. Good afternoon. Let me also say good afternoon to
I
Chief
understand.
Moment. Yes, Sadiq, how are you? How's family?
Yeah, he's still dealing with the loss.
The loss, yes. It can be very painful.
I'm sharing in the loss with
Yes, it can be very painful. I know. Chief,
Yes.
everything okay?
Very well, sir.
Yes, Wogbejeke, we are still traveling.
Yeah, we're coming this year.
It will be
Live
good.
and colored.
Yes, it will be
And,
good.
Nice
show
one.
Mark too.
And I like what
Some
Honorable has
other
said about this Ghana South Africa
Yeah.
collabo. Wogbejeke could actually go to South Africa just as Umoja has been to Ghana.
I know, right?
You know, so it would be a
Several
very,
times.
very nice exchange. Very, very nice exchange.
And I must say that Honorable is looking quite flamboyant.
Oh, yes.
he's looking super rich.
No,
I
it's
see
looking
the
dapper.
beard and I'm
Mark,
like,
Mark has always been a very,
No, he's
But
stylish.
there's
You
grey
know,
in there.
stylish.
There's grey in there. He's joined the beard gang.
yeah.
And there's grey in it.
With the grey.
You know, I once
It's a luxurious life.
I once got the privilege of sitting in a meeting with Honorable and some guests from Barbados, and that the Honorable was wearing that his Moschino shoe. Charlie, you see, then one of the
Okay,
ladies,
what the- what
if he
your
talks more, they
Italian-
spider
what's
shoe.
your
If he
Italian?
talks more, they spider
He
shoe.
go show you
The only
Italian.
thing left is the cigar.
But there was one that what's the name? Nabil.
Yeah.
You should bring me closer because gradually I'm forgetting some of the names of the Nabil came with a basketball.
Yes, I recall that meeting
Yes,
too.
for a meeting. and then I sat my usual chair. When there are more than 2 or 3, you know, I have this chair. That, Then basketball, Nabil.
What a minister.
Where's the minister coming? Then Nabil said, the man is here without saying. I said, Nabil be the minister. You know this Nigeria. Then Nabil said, yes. He was one of us. Say, oh, Nagana, you do things so my fellow Nigerians for come see this. Now you minister for Nigeria, it no go happen. You are too young.
One, too young, and two, the access to be able to just walk into the office is open to everybody. Anyway, Sadiq, Honorable has said a lot of work that is ongoing. I don't know if you were listening before you came in. Yes, we need to be managing. We have Jackie coming in for a short one. So, what's your take?
Well, I mean, well, of course, I mean, a number of brilliant initiatives and intentions. The bit I'm worried about is a number of the things that have been promised for it to happen seem to have taken longer than usual or longer than expected. You know, I mean, some of them came from 2016, and then now we are in the middle of the second year or the second term of the government. You know, and some of the amphitheaters, I don't know if it was read as part of the budget for the year and whether it was captured within it, which means that if it's anything like that going to materialize, we should have an expectation that when the budget is read for next year, it should be captured within it.
That's why
you know.
told me.
Yeah, so if it's not, then it means I would have to expect it for 2024. So that's a bit of my worry. But of course, a number of the things, the idea behind Amphitheatre, we've always agreed that it's brilliant. We've always requested for it. The idea behind the film studio has always been a good one. I know how Mark was neck deep in the whole back and forth regarding where he should go to prior to 2020. Charlie, that's a real worry. But obviously, a lot of these things are brilliant initiatives for industry. Certain that these things, when it happens, will help enable the sector. It's a commitment I don't see from the overarching commitment from the government generally, you know, and which has been my worry even for Mark, because my point even before he took over the role was that, I mean, knowing him, he's driven, ambitious, and he would want to run at a certain speed. But everybody's worry was that when there's not that overarching commitment from the government generally and the president, it becomes difficult. And one of the things that we do not all want for Mark is for us to finish this particular term and these things happen. You know, we'll be hopeful, we'll continue asking the questions, but there's a real worry that there is not that serious commitment from the president and the current government regarding the arts. There's a real worry, particularly in relation to a lot of the promises that has been made that's more than 5 or getting to about 6 years old. You know, but of course, these are all very brilliant initiatives. Really looking forward to when it goes full stream.
Okay.
I'm confident it will add a lot to it.
A lot more.
You want to bet for this one?
George.
Oh, well, I mean,
Yes, Honorable.
Do you want to bet for this one too?
Okay.
You know you lost one.
Wait till they come
You lost
back
one
to
on
if you give me a timeline, I'll bet on it. Give me a timeline. If you give me a timeline to say by the end of
It's 2024.
by the end of 2024, the amphitheaters will come.
No, there's a timeline for the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Center. First quarter 2023. Would you like to bet on that one?
No, of course, because those ones are always, that is part of the
But you asked for
World Bank.
timeline.
No, not that. I'm being specific.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, I can't.
So
launch
you want to bet on the amphitheaters or the studios? Which one?
the amphitheaters and the studios.
Both.
You know,
Choose one.
Exactly.
Choose one.
Oh, this amphitheater and the studios.
Choose one.
But no, there are things that we know there are funds for. The World Bank supported tourism development fund, for instance. I know for the Kwame Nkrumah and some of these things that is going upstream. I know it's already in execution. So of course, those ones we know about that.
That's why I'm tempting you
More
to
bet.
bet, because the fees are also under World Bank.
Oh, okay.
Let's bet.
Till the end of the year. So give me a timeline.
Because you see,
I bet. Give me a timeline.
Sadia,
Give me a
I didn't
timeline.
want them to know this. Do you want me to tell them?
Give me a timeline.
Do you want me to tell them?
I need a timeline so I can
I
bet
no,
on
no.
it.
Answer my question. you want me to tell them?
Which one?
Our story.
Sadia. We get too many stories.
You know, Sadiq, when I said we're going to pass the bill into an act in the year 2020, he said, if you're able to do this, call me Sadiq.
Sadia, I remember I was on Hits FM.
Is appointment of the board of the NFA?
No,
I think it was a bill. It was on Andy Dossie's show.
Yes,
yeah, I think I listened that morning.
This is why I'm saying so, because at a certain level we're all involved in trying to rally around support for the bill at the latter stages of it. But what I remember of was, the president at that time indicated that by February of 2020, the board, NFA, what's the lady's name? Juliet. They appointed almost on the eve of
Sadiq,
the new
let me
year
remind
2020.
you. Sometimes when you lose election, you can't.
Before that,
Honorable is jabbing you.
Let me remind you. You remember I had come at the time. I was the one in charge of the bill.
Yeah.
Working on the bill under the minister. And NFA was not directly under me. So there was no way I would have come to argue
To
and
bet
give you
on
timelines
NFA.
But I gave you timelines that we're going to pass the bill by end of 2020 because there was a certificate of agency on it. And then you said that if we are able to do it, I should call you Sadia.
No, this is why I'm saying so.
Don't worry, it's okay. No, we have to move forward. My time is up. We have to move forward. Pointless. Pointless.
No, it's fine.
Let's hear from George Britton. George.
Sadia, I think.
So you not give us a timeline.
Don't worry, you will come back to that.
Let me give us a timeline.
Don't worry, we'll come back to it.
Q2 next year.
Q2 next year.
Why?
George,
George, are you the minister?
He speaks for the minister.
Okay, let's say by end of next year. Yes.
Sadiq is a gentleman.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he is.
Oh, what?
George, yeah.
So I think.
But this thing I go talk. Continues to the narrative that they say we don't give Mark pressure.
Let's go to George.
So I think with some of the initiative that the Honorable has discussed, they're very good for us.
Solid.
I think the only problem is that there's no communication. So you get to hear most of the industry talk about Honorable. I mean, the talks that comes up when Honorable is mentioned is that he was one of us, occupied the position and nothing's really happening. But I mean, from listening to him, that means it's not just sitting there, there's a lot happening. So if we can have more communication, like, yes, we want to go to Kumasi to see what is happening. So we as media can also project some of these things because we know our people. It's only when they hear is when they believe. And if we can make that very much available, yes, they will. We'll all rally up because we want these things, and especially with the one you did mention about the school being on the campus being on the same
the amphitheater.
Yes,
the theater.
I think when you go to O2, O2 Arena in London, there's a university there.
Yes.
The last time I visited, I was told that okay, so you actually do your service here. So it gives you that level of experience.
That experience.
Would that be a secondary school or tertiary?
Yeah, SHS.
There's a bit. Which curriculum would they run on, if possible?
Not there yet. Because I am not the Minister for Education.
So I think some of these things we need some of these things. As industry people, we want to grow. I mean, the complaints have been too much, and when we travel out there, we see a lot of development. I mean, when somebody comes out to say, "I'm into music business," or "I'm into arts," they occupy such a level of respect. But over here, it becomes like you're a school dropout or something. Meanwhile, a lot of people in our space are making money even more than people in the corporate industry. So if we can throw more light on these things, I mean, if I have an artist and I can play, let's say 10 shows in a year without anybody engaging me, I just know that, okay, I can perform in all the system regions. Then I know very much that, okay, in a year, I'm going to employ this number of people to make this possible. So it's something great for us, yeah.
All right, let me bring Chief Moving into the conversation. Chief.
Yes, well, it's good to hear Mark, Honorable Mark. Some of the things that he's talked about are things we've been talking about this show. True. Especially coming from a theater point of view, the need for venues, and not just the shell, but actually equipped with light and sound. And I hope that comes with the amphitheater as well. Yeah. Because that you want that 360 offer where you don't have to spend to bring in light, to bring in sound and all of that. And I hope that once it's built, maintenance, maybe I would say if they were planning to build 3, they should build 2 and then put some of the money as content development resource for them. the reason why Alliance Francaise works and has been a nurturing ground for a lot of our indie up-and-coming artists is because of the kind of system. I mean, every year they have some small grants that they dedicate towards curating shows, and then they get the people to come in, and they have built audience over time. So the whole idea of building audience over time will only happen if quality shows, are put in those spaces. And the only way quality shows can be put in those places if there's some resources. So maybe they can have a plan to say, look, in as much as we are building these amphitheaters, let's have a budget for like a year or two, and every quarter we have something that at least we want to fund. It can be a theater show, it can be a music show, and let's invest part of the money in publicity. Once, as he said, you create a system whereby people know that this is happening, you can create a product and take it through. Even they themselves can integrate it with create products that can show in the Accra one, the Tamale one, the Kumasi one, or wherever they want to put it. So yes, kudos, and we're looking forward to that. Nkrumah Mausoleum, wonderful, although some have said that, ideally we shouldn't have been using World Bank money to renovate, how do you call them, Nkrumah's Mausoleum, but well, beggar has no choice, the economy is tight, so wherever the money will come from. But for such a doyen of Pan-Africanism, we would have thought that people see the Ankasebe, one Kasana Praho, but
some cocoa farmers should come together and give us some cocoa money.
Yeah, and I would just like to end by saying that beyond what governments can do, we always ask businesses to see the creative space as a viable space for investment. There's just so much potential for someone to create experiences where people will come and pay, and there's nothing that prevents private business people from partnering some of these things, some of these museums, to say, I want to invest and create an experience for people. And I think that's especially now that our tourism looks our numbers looks to increase. This is a business area that people are not actually looking at. And to conclude, I'd like to ask Mark Honorable that while we are renovating and building new structures, how about the air conditioning in the National Theatre? A whole National Theatre, almost like an oven. If there's any intervention that can be done, even if we can change the
air conditioner is still not working.
No.
When was the last time you were there?
I did a show there recently. I think the National Theatre came out to say they needed about $1 million or so to change the entire central AC system, because since it's building, it's never been changed, and it's
just $1 million.
$1 million, I think. Yes. So I would say, because the name national, when the name national is attached to any edifice, essentially is the image of your country. Yeah. So we did, as I said, we did a show that we hosted the WTPO conference by GEPA. We had international people coming in there, and we did our best to put the place, but you could realize that National Theatre. So I hope that maybe Mark can also lobby to get a little bit of allocation for the air conditioning.
Yeah,
and
but
to
$1
conclude, one ally I want to recommend to Mark, one ally, because I had his interview with Denta, and for all his faults, he's speaking the right language when it comes to the creative industry. And I mentioned here last week that we should get him. Honorable Kennedy, the point, if you listen to his interview with Denta and the points that he made about making tourism the focal point for our development because of its ripple effect, I think that the creative sector at this point can find an ally in him. And some of these things I would like to recommend that Mark can talk to him, as well as Prime Minister. I'm happy that Prime Minister is also very interested in our space, and is even giving us
who's Prime Minister?
Oh, you don't know Prime Minister?
Ghana has a Prime Minister.
Oh, you don't know Prime Minister?
No.
Oh.
Okay. There's a Prime Minister in Ghana?
I'll update you.
Uncle Ken, Ghana has a Prime Minister?
I don't know about that.
George, Chief, what are you saying?
Oh,
Honorable, Ghana has a Prime Minister?
Unofficial Prime Minister.
Oh, you're talking about unofficial Prime Minister?
Yeah, not of an official post.
Who?
Oh, Mr. Ocherdako.
You people are jokers.
So yes, Mark, we wish you all the best in those
George, sorry.
Yeah.
Did Mark speak on the Creative Arts Agency and the issues raised by FOCAP?
Yes, Honorable. Don't worry. Sadiq has asked a question. Yes, he's asked a question. Uncle Ken,
a condition question too.
Yes, I want to take, because of the time, I want us to take all the questions. So when Honorable speaks,
okay, so let me just add, and the Mark, for December, for those of us that are involved in
concerts,
creating experiences for December and everything, what are some of the things that the government is intending or planning to do to cushion us? Because for 2020, a lot of us that have met so far, we are recognizing that productions for this particular year is going to be very, very expensive.
Okay.
Big Brother production is coming to town, so
let's go.
Is changing.
Yeah. So you have had two questions, Sadiq. The first one about the creative arts, and then the second one about the December event. Okay. Yes, Uncle Ken.
Yeah, mine is not a question.
Okay.
It's just to George, you are a product of the School of Performing Arts.
Proudly.
And
Yes.
so is Chief.
Chief.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yep.
You have an amphitheater there.
Yes, we do.
There's actually an amphitheater behind Commonwealth Hall.
Behind Commonwealth
Yes,
Hall.
but it's not been used for a while.
What
It's
about
not been
the
active.
Performing Arts itself?
The Performing
studio.
Arts has a
The
drama studio.
The drama
It has a
studio.
drama
Yes,
studio.
the
not
drama
an
studio
amphitheater.
is not exactly your
not-
out and out amphitheater.
That's
However, when we speak amphitheaters, that is the kind of concept we usually refer to.
Okay,
Yes,
nice
but it's
one.
not really your out and
Nice
out
one.
amphitheater.
All I am going to say is all I want to tell Mark that I wish this thought had come in 2016 when they were putting together their manifesto,
Yeah, yeah.
instead of
Okay.
the lofty ideas of multi-purpose theaters that they were thinking of. Because if they had thought about this amphitheater project, by now I'm sure we would have had one in each region.
Yeah, but even with that, again,
Yeah.
is it easy?
You know, yeah, it's. I mean, cost-wise,
Yeah.
it is, very, very viable.
Good point. Good point.
Very viable.
Good point, Uncle Ken.
So, Mark,
Yes.
I'm saying that you
Yes.
guys should make sure that this thing comes to fruition.
Yes.
Because it will
All right.
serve the regions perfectly.
Thanks, George. I don't know if you have a question as well.
We just want to see us grow.
You are
So,
good.
yeah.
Okay, so Honorable, 3 questions. One has to do with the National Theatre, and
Okay,
then
so
2
give me
from
one at a
Sadiq.
time.
Yes, let us start with the National Theatre.
Okay, National Theatre. I think I met the board a few months ago. We appreciate their challenges. Before now, we used to also go for events. We used to even host events ourselves there. We know the challenges with the AC. We had a meeting with the Chinese ambassador, and then he wrote back and said because of COVID, he wasn't ready to meet us at the time. But when things settle, or post-COVID, or the time he would decide that he wanted us to come, he will let us know. The challenge with the National Theatre is that you must go back to China because they built it. And some of the technologies there, you must go back to China. And so we've engaged them, minister himself, and there's some degree of conversation going on that seem to show that they will come on board and fix the National Theatre for us. But as to when is a challenge. And I'm not sure we also have enough time to wait. And so we are thinking of the contingency one to go with for now. So I'll get back when I get the right
The full
answers.
details.
But for now,
And then the other one had to do with the Creative Agency Board. An organization raised, what should I call it?
Issues with appointments.
Raised issues with appointments, saying that it had been
corporate
long
governance.
overdue, and they did not know why an executive secretary hadn't been officially named and why a board wasn't in place, because a board had to be in place, So bottom line, if we can have any overview on the Creative Agency.
I agree it should have happened before now.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that even if nothing happens in my time as a deputy minister for tourism, arts and culture, the Creative Arts Agency should be vibrant,
True.
because it's like we midwifed it, sort of.
True.
Yeah, and
True.
so we should make sure that
It
at
survives.
least we can keep that in our records that we did it and made sure it brought some results. Minister Awal has passion for that side, and even when the World Bank money that came in last year, when they were about distributing, it was going to go to just tourism. It was Honorable Awal who said, no way. Creative people must benefit, because the creative people who drive the tourism. So if they go poor or they go down totally, how are we going to sell the tourism? So, George.
I'm with you, Honorable. Sorry.
Okay, I hope
Yes.
so. Yes.
Oh no, I can give you a recall. So we spoke about the funding that came and how
Yes.
it was going to go to tourism, but Honorable insisted that the creatives were also well catered for. Please continue.
Yes. And so, do you know where I go to?
Yes, you are continuing.
I like that. Yes. And so, Dr. Awal's passion for the Creative Art Agency is very high.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, right about the time that most of the people who are going to go on the board already have information already. Like, they know that you're going to be on the board already. Names are George. You
selected.
Honorable, let's go on.
Oh, George, are you on the board?
So I've heard.
Are you supposed to be on the board?
So I've heard, as president of the artwork. So I've heard. Yes.
Correct. So it should tell you that things are happening.
Yes.
Unfortunately, revenues against costs. When you are already struggling with budget issues, you know what we've been through in the first Q1, Q2 of this year, and so to ask us to recruit more people when some of the other areas are even struggling financially, it wasn't prudent at the time. So minister is still engaging chief of staff for green light when they can recruit. So with people who have sent in their CVs and but let me issue this statement here. I see some of the industry people sending me messages that they want to be part of the agency, and I have said that unfortunately we cannot recruit people, active practitioners of the arts, to become workers
at the agency.
You can only be on the board.
Yeah.
But you cannot be part of day to day
running of
the reason is that you know what we are going through today. Look at Gamma. Correct.
Yeah.
So decision making, it is your industry. So come and make your decisions. But when it comes to day
running,
it must be people who have been trained for particular things. The fact that you're a performer doesn't make you an accountant.
True.
You know, let neutral people man that side. So we don't go and turn that side to another music court, another Gamro court.
Actors Guild.
Mark, is it a case that if they are going to leave the existing thing they are doing to join, they can take us? I don't want anybody to use this thing against us to say the fact that you're working in the creative industry doesn't mean you can be an administrator. Then that will be used against most of us.
Oh, no, in that sense. But I have a background of marketing.
Yeah.
I know how to sell.
Yeah.
So I can go and sell for NASCO in future. Yes, it doesn't mean that the fact that I'm a music producer, I have a weakness for selling. No. But what I'm saying is that people tend to think that it is here. It is our industry. Yeah. So we must be there.
Even without the requisite still, just by dint of the fact that I'm a musician, I should be boss at Gamro, or I should be
I'm a creative person, so I should be employed. I'm jobless, and I'm saying that.
Organizations.
And we are saying that you qualify to be on the board with the think tank concept of boards. You are sharp, you have a lot of knowledge and experience, so come and bring that on board. But when it comes to day, please, we want to make that ground neutral.
May I add a suggestion? Based on hold on, he's going to it's in addition to yours.
Yes,
I was going to say that if you find a creative who has a particular skill like you, you are a very good marketer, like you said, and you're also a creative, you would be a better asset than somebody who's just a marketer and not a creative. So just like Sadiq is saying, also, you understand, because if we can find somebody who has both, you know, I think that person might be a worthier asset to the organization than, for instance, if the organization were looking for a communicator.
Again, let me make it very simple for you.
Chief Mumin would
let me make it very simple for you to understand.
Yes.
How can a regulator, which is a creative agency,
be
a performer? When your own matter come, how you go solve?
You have a point.
You are the regulator of the industry, and so you go and do events, and there are issues around it because you are the regulator.
You have to.
Conflict of interest.
That makes sense now.
So, Mark, it means that the board and the organization can become operational because there's no funds to kickstart it. But what's curious to also notice that per the way it's structured or designed from the law, if it becomes operational, there are some fees that's supposed to
come into the fund.
No, and from their operations, because
that's
people, all of us that are operating,
are to come into the fund.
The time is far gone after the 6 months.
Yes.
And so, why would we have to wait for, say, the presidency to avail funds before? Because we understand that people are working already. The president's daughter is working. Frankie Fife and Co are working. What's happening?
Okay, you know that when it comes to salaries, the moment the person starts the work, it must come in. Good. When they go for board meetings, allowances. When they're day to day, they are just about 2-3 people manning the place. When it becomes a full office with everything in place, they will spend more.
Yeah.
And the activities are going to be more. Even vehicle and all that. They already have one official one, but vehicle for day to day, we don't have one. Like Sadiq said, yes, is going to the industry is going to contribute to the fund. But when you kickstart, we all know this country. It's not like the first 3 months the industry begin to give you money. Presidents must put in seed money to start with.
But point is, Mark, these guys have been working for almost 2 years now.
Yes.
I mean, and which is everybody's aware of. So if the excuse is that because there's no lack of funds or anything, we can't operationalize the agency and everything. These guys have been working for 2 years. So what's happening to their capex, for instance, assistants? We understand that they are running cost expenditure. What's happening to their remuneration, salaries, and all of these things?
That's why they are not on salaries for now.
But what funds it's supporting the operations if there isn't?
That is why there are only 3.
So they are volunteering.
There's a degree of that.
Oh, okay.
So they only get some allowances, and the ones that are necessary that they must get, the ministry supports them.
Okay.
Yes, they don't have at the moment. Although we have the law, they still get their money through the ministry.
Okay.
Yes, the ministry sees them as a department.
Okay.
So, Mark, any projected timeline in terms of when they could become operational?
I'll give you by end of year.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's like
That's
3
That's
years.
6 months away.
That's 3 years of this. No, 2 years of the second term gone.
Okay. I told you that I was a marketer.
Yes.
Okay. There's one popular slogan in marketing.
Under promise, over deliver.
Correct.
Okay. Let's move forward then. There was the last one, December, because December, Samini Experience is coming, but we don't have money. The venues are expensive.
The tourism development.
The venues are expensive. Yeah, you know.
Yes. I mean,
You know, no, Honorable, but on a more serious note, you know, so that's the last one. Then we can go in, because our conversation is also important. You have to be a part of it.
Okay.
The bloggers are worrying us.
Okay. I like you. You know, the December events.
Yeah.
You heard me going around bragging, or if there's another word, is it vaunting?
Yes.
About the highest number of events within our Christmas season ever.
Yeah.
So I'm so proud of the creative industry for what they did last year. I agree that without the creative space, really, yes, there's tourism, but there's no vibrant tourism. So somebody mentioned Honorable Kennedy Japan.
Yes, that was Chief Moment.
Yeah, Chief.
Yes.
Musa.
Yes.
It's actually not the first time he's mentioning tourism as a big deal to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, his son is in charge of Afrochella.
Afrochella,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So at least I'm sure he gathered some intel
Yeah.
from his son.
Yes.
So it is good. I was just not comfortable when he said that President Akufo-Addo has done something, but he thinks that anyway, when people are going for elections,
No, I mean, it means that it is not the overarching objective of the government. The government is supporting all other industries, including tourism, but the president has his baby.
Let me tell you something. Can you imagine about 7 years ago,
Yeah.
if President Akufo-Addo had come out to tell Ghanaians that, give me the mandate, my priority, my highest point that I'm bringing on board is tourism.
Well, it depends on how he sells it.
You wait.
Chief, this is Ghana.
See, times can change meanings. Oh.
Well, I mean, I acknowledge the point you are making.
Yes.
Of course, among
Chief,
other
this is
things,
Ghana.
no, but George, it can be elevated. Among other things, we've seen campaigns where the 2016 campaign that Mark Dems were involved in, they touted different things. But one of the key areas that got a lot of threshold, buzz, and conversations was the creative industry. In 2020 as well, the same thing.
Yeah.
We actually, the creative and tourism, the sector, got a lot more attention and leverage by both parties, even more than sports. So it can be done.
That's what I'm saying. That about 7-8 years ago, the truth is that tourism wasn't the sexiest campaign message that you could use to sell. Today it is.
Yeah.
That's why. I mean, okay, 8 years ago, Honorable Kennedy Japan was still a politician. He was still campaigning for MPP. Did he ever use tourism? Did he ever mention tourism? And any time he spoke about tourism, he used year of return as example.
Yes, my only interest is that a politician of his stature is beginning to make this thing conversational. So, however we can support to put it in the, as you also said, I mean, this whole thing also started with Muhammad administration when we were advocating and we got the first 2 million. So I get what you, the momentum has been building, the interest has been building. Now we want to make it mainstream. We want a politician to say that, look, gold, cocoa, and oil, we've been using this as our mainstays of our economy. When I come, I'll change the economy in such a way that tourism will be the big earner.
I think what you're saying, you have a point. But
I agree with him. Exactly.
It is because they have been initiated.
We don't deny the fact that, but as Oliver Twist says,
as for more,
we are just scratching the surface of the tourism potential.
No, we have to finish up on the December, so that we can move into our next convo.
Also interest in this cathedral agenda. Because you see,
Mark.
Yes.
This one,
different conversation.
this one, if you go there,
No.
go start saying. You let's land on the December, then we can talk about
Cathedral. Bring this up.
Because this cathedral one,
Please, let's go. Let's go. Allow Honorable to talk. My time
you
is
guys
up.
want to make cathedral like Elevi. It's not Elevi.
No. Honorable, please go ahead.
Okay.
December.
Okay. I am saying that you should show interest because if you go to Dubai, what they are selling to us as tourism is their monumental infrastructure. Period. Me, I never go to Dubai and go to a nightclub or a party or whatever. The one thing that I whatever Khalifa, whatever you go to, lights, artificial water, all of them things. But when we hear of edifice for this country, do you know one of the reasons why Kwame Nkrumah became unpopular? It's a motorway.
Yeah.
If you don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. So
they said he spent too much money.
I am saying that for somebody who sells tourism, I have an interest in the cathedral because the cathedral is a monumental product enough, just like the one that
this one I disagree.
I know you disagree. I know your colors will obviously.
No, but even the mosque, even citing the mosque will be a wrong example.
That's what I'm saying. That for somebody who sells,
because the mosque was not established by the state.
Yes, I know. Yeah. Yes, I know. Is it Turkey or something?
Yeah, it was Ghanaian Muslims with support from Turkish charity organization.
Yes, but it is still a monumental project to sell tourism. It is beautiful. Anytime I've said this thing here, this project, this mammoth thing, who brought the concept? So for me, anything, yes, the Sadiq and the other people who want to go political can choose to do the other thing. This morning I saw my brother Okujeto on a news file. Yes, he's asking the right questions when it comes to checks, constitutional checks, whether Parliament gave you the green light or whatever. Yes, that's another matter. But generally, as a people, things like that, we must show interest. Jubilee House. I remember when Jubilee House was coming up, we heard all sorts of things about Jubilee House. When I went to Costa Rica, I saw their National Theatre. I saw their presidential home. Not to say it was good, but I noticed that Ghana, we are also working hard. So please, show interest.
December, Honorable.
Yes. So December, it is not a new thing.
Yeah.
My brother, Mr. Kwesi Agyemang, supports some of the events already.
Very true.
Already.
Yes. Very true.
Yes.
I didn't know about
Very
that.
true.
Yes.
Oh, there are programs that have been supported. Sadiq, did you apply?
I am active.
Did you apply
in December? So Uncle Ken, there should be a lot of this.
We need to
come again.
No. Oh, Uncle Ken. Uncle Ken. I think no. I think the wrong thing because there are certain.
But that is true. I'm not in the inner circle.
Sadiq, let me. No, sometimes we need the education. It's not inner circle. There are private. Hold on.
Are you explaining for the
I'm not talking for ministry. I'm talking for industry.
He's right.
George Britton. Hold on. George Britton might be wanting to organize an event this December. Maybe he doesn't know that if he applied to the GTA, he might get support. Because there were people that approached me and said, "Oh, George, I've heard the Samini Experience advert. I've seen plenty. Can you help me get some of the sponsors?" And
George,
a lot of people called me in December, and I pointed them in the right direction.
Don't let us go into this.
It's not going
as far back as August last year, even before the year. Do you know the kind of engagement myself and other people I've had with the GTA?
Oh,
and
okay,
the CEO,
then that's different.
And this has never ever come up.
Then that's different.
That's different.
Yeah, he will not actually. Nobody has actually said that. Or actually communicated to some specific people that you could actually even apply for ABC like George is talking about. And that's why I'm saying that.
Okay.
I wouldn't know about some of these initiatives. So I'm actually interested in knowing. Okay, which particular specific event was supported? Pick back from Uncle Ken's point.
Okay.
Are they being supported because they are in an inner circle? Because I see things that would happen.
No.
Honorable,
We don't support based on inner circle.
Hold on, please. If I may come in. This one is a broad topic. So please let's hold on. I have one last
okay, but let's what would happen.
No, because there are a lot of people who will be interested. A lot of people need help. For me, my biggest worry this December is we cannot afford the venues. That's my biggest worry.
We cannot afford what?
The venues.
Which venues are there?
So put up the amphitheater.
Which venues?
No, but the amphitheaters will be.
No,
the conference
centers will not work for what we want to do.
Center, probably National Theatre.
That's
No. So
that is
there's
part of
our work is used.
It's going to go down.
We use the Shy Forest Reserve.
Conference centers will go down.
Yeah.
But there's Grand Arena. There's Grand Arena as well.
So there's Grand Arena, there's stadium. The stadium don't allow you to do concert there, or may not. It depends on who you speak to.
But it's expensive.
I overheard the deputy minister sometime last week or the week before talking about and praising the edifice.
Deputy Minister for
tourism.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, let's go. Let's go.
What's the edifice at the conference center?
Grand Arena.
Grand Arena. Uncle Ken.
Yes.
Uncle Ken, hold on.
Such edifices.
Yes, we are going to. Yes.
You are going to put. It's very
Yes,
important.
he mentioned.
Yes.
But we have to move on. My producer wants to beat me up if we don't move
Get
on.
the minister.
Hold on. You see, I didn't want to go there, but I'm getting irritated. I'll tell you why.
I agree with
It
you.
was never on the schedule that the minister was coming here today.
It was supposed to have been last week. Okay, Uncle Ken, hold on.
I'm mad.
When I was at Hit FM, I was very angry. There was something. Uncle Ken, you're right. I did know this. You know, Hit FM, when it's 10 o'clock, we have important topics. DJ Black will come and stand and say, close.
Give us an extra hour.
Sometimes when you have, I'm telling you because you're a producer, sometimes when you have something that you think that it doesn't come to you often. You take advantage of it.
Thank you.
And we've seen other channels that have done these over the years. They've gotten some results. By Joy FM.
Hold on. Yes. Okay, here's the reason. And in all fairness, the next topic, we've got people online that have been waiting for over an hour to join the next discussion, and we've kept them for long. It's been unfair to them, and like Uncle Ken rightly also mentioned, we're supposed to have this conversation last week, but for one or two reasons it didn't happen. And Honorable will plead that if maybe next week we can continue, it would be nice, because I also need you for the next conversation, but we have 1 hour, less than an hour to get into it. So I'll plead that we get into that conversation now.
Event centers coming up. That's what Uncle Ken wanted to talk about.
Yes. Anyway, let's spend 5 more minutes to wrap this one up. Then we can. So, Honorable, in December, and then the events that are coming up. Yes, please.
Sadiq, we acknowledge your hard work and all your contributions towards this industry.
Yeah.
Whether you wear blue or you wear green, we know you. We know what you've done for the industry. And you, what's your other nickname? Gatekeeper. Sadia. You know what? Influencer. We are saying that the fund at GTA is supposed to come back into the industry to help the industry grow faster, so you can always be there for tourism to boom.
Exactly.
And so the challenge is that the fact that you bring a letter doesn't guarantee you getting. It depends on the situation at the time. But my brother, Mr. Kusediman, had tried to always make sure that, I know sometime back KOD was also chasing something with him. Yes, I get to hear some of them because some of the people who chase the money are my friends. And so what I'm saying is that it is good that we have told you today. And I'll take it up.
So I'll give Akosi a call.
Yes, give Akosi a call. You don't need to be in any form of circle.
Don't give him a call. Write to him officially.
Oh, it's all part of the communication. I'll write to him officially.
Okay. All right. Then.
And so, George, all of you, you make the attempt.
Yes.
You might not get what you call enough.
Yes.
But I am sure there'll be a degree of satisfaction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice one.
Okay.
George.
Yes.
Please, finally, Nana Oforiata sent me a message. He says, Nana Fredua.
Yes, Nana Fredua.
If we don't respect our culture and therefore strengthen and expand the arts, the tourism will be shallow as it is now. I raise this because we seem to do tourism before its parents.
Culture.
Okay.
And George,
that's why some of us
George,
are interested in diversifying the content offering.
We would not get into my next topic. We would not get into it. We would not get into it.
She's a curator. No, George, this is very important. She's a Naya.
Yeah, Oferata.
No, it's not Nanaya Oferata.
Nanaya Eyim.
She's involved. She's a artifact museum curator and all of those things. I've realized she's doing a very, very important and laudable work.
So you want to give her a shout?
I want to give her a shout, but most importantly, just to bring it to attention of Mark, just in case that she's not being engaged.
Okay, let's get into it. Gentlemen,
she's really doing.
Okay,
she got some $3 million award recently.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, she's really doing some very good work.
Let us get into it. George Britton, you are a blogger.
Yes.
Finally, the topic.
Former blogger.
Still,
you're still a blogger.
I still play both roles. Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest problem of blogging in Ghana?
I mean, the fact that most people who are in the space now are not trained. 1, 2, there seems to be no head. That is 2. And 3, people are more interested in sensationalism than the real facts. I mean, of course, as a blogger, it is not about the facts. It's about your
Uncle Ken,
opinion.
the mics are live. Yeah, please. Yes.
As a blogger, it's not about the facts sometimes. It's about your opinion. So, yes, it is, but you need some little education. I mean, when we started back in the days, I quite remember the end of every month, we met at Pa John's, house to help direct us where to take the industry. But unfortunately, these days it doesn't happen. I mean, everybody can be a blogger because there's mobile phone. I mean, so long as you can put few words together and add some photos, you're good to go. And people want the clicks. The clicks is also causing a lot of problems here. And people don't also know the essence of the blogging. In my space, when I started, I was all about, promoting musicians. I was just a music blogger when I started. I care less what was happening in the movie industry. You will only see me around the Tiny's and Samson and these guys because I was a music blogger. I'm the likes of Amir Debra, who was a celebrity blogger, was doing more because he was engaging both the movie stars and all. But today's blogging space is different. I mean, everybody talks about the things that will give him or her, the clicks. So, and it's dangerous because this is giving birth to a lot more lies in the headlines. People want to create headlines that are different from the bodies of the topic. So these are very dangerous times, and we need to be very careful. But I think one of the things that people can do to straighten these things are, when people start getting sued.
When people start getting sued?
Yeah, I think if people start getting, because defamation of character is huge. And then again, there was a time that, I think I had this conversation with Joe Metal a couple of months ago about, most of the people in the blogging space don't even understand that mostly when you're traveling and say you're a celebrity, some of these guys are the airport, the security or the aviation guys, do Google who you are. And there are things that you cannot play with, rape, and some key words that can really go against you. So some of my colleague bloggers don't know these things, and they go ahead and use these things because they know, and later they might come out to apologize, but it's very dangerous. So I think that is some of the problems that the blogging space is.
Interesting. You mentioned Amaya Debra, so let me quickly bring him into the conversation. Amaya, if you can unmute your microphone. Good evening. How are you, my brother?
Good evening, George. I'm good. How about you?
Well, we are blessed. God is good. God is good. Thank you very much. I don't know if you heard George Britton, and if there's anything you would add as far as the problem with blogging or digital journalism is concerned in Ghana.
Yes, I think George summed it up adequately. For me also, I think we haven't seen the space grow to the point where other people doing very niche kind of blogging get to excel, and a lot of attention has been given to people who are in the entertainment space, people who are spreading gossip and all of that. And then those who may be doing the other things haven't had that kind of attention placed on them. So ideally, over the years since I started and this how the space was, I would have wished that we see more of these elements, because when you look into other countries, you realize that everything is moving along hand in hand. So for me, that's what I would like to add to what George stated.
Amaya, did you have any kind of a journalism training or anything of the sort before going into this?
Well, I had a background in publishing, so I studied BA publishing in the university. So I guess it sort of aligned me to the space in one way or the other. But for me, the beautiful thing about blogging is it comes from you. It's you. So you don't need so much formal education. All you need to do is to be a gatekeeper, know what you want to express, what you don't want to express, and how you want to do it. So, yes, education may be needed at some point, but in general, I think once you have the passion, once you're able to express yourself in whichever form, now it doesn't even have to be English. It can be pidgin, it can be whatever. Once you have that ability to express yourself and want to express it, you should be able to do it.
Interesting. George, did you have any formal training of a sort, before getting into the space?
No, I didn't.
None at all.
Job, yeah.
Okay. And Amaya and George, would you guys say that, Amaya, you have actually rightly said it, that you don't really need any proper education to get into the space, right?
Yes.
Uncle Ken, would you say that is where the problem starts from?
Of course it is. Of course it is, George. How can you get into that space without any grounding whatsoever? And the poor people who read your blogs are the ones that are going to suffer from misinformation, poor grammar, bad tenses, and what have you. George, it's sometimes when I go on those streets, I feel so sorry for people who might not know the differences in tenses and grammar, who read these blogs, comment on the blogs, and even go as far as praising the bloggers for writing good English. It's true. I see people's comments and they praise people who are writing bad grammar for writing good English. Oh, I enjoy your writing.
Did you add power?
Mark, they do. They do. You know, and that upsets me because I see these streets as a place where people can go for knowledge.
He's in the street.
And education and enhancement in what's happening around the world.
Yeah.
You know, I am always grateful for these streets happening now, because I look at myself and I say to myself, if I didn't have the internet to explore at this time of my life, what else will I be doing? Going to sit under a mango tree to play draft. You know, so I appreciate the streets very, very, very well. But I am at a loss as to the sort of brothel we are teaching the young ones who are now coming up. So that is my worry with the bloggers, you know, and we do not have to mention names whatsoever, because the thing is widespread. Yeah. And there are so many of them who are so influential with the following.
Huge numbers.
Huge numbers, George. And then when you see what they write, and so you ask yourself, none of the people who comment are bold enough to try and correct them. I have seen a few who have tried correcting certain people who are friends, that kind of thing, and the bashing they get.
Which was a ready market for their content.
You know, yes. The bashing. And I'm very sad that today, Philip, I told you, I thought you said you were going to wait for him. I'm very sad that we don't have William Asiedu here today.
No, unfortunately, he had exams.
He was otherwise engaged.
Yes.
Somewhere.
But he has handed over to George.
No, that was Atwag. He's handed over Atwag's presidency to George Quay.
That is why I wish I weren't sitting here for this topic.
I told
Philip,
you,
do you want to come and host? I want to be a panel member.
I told you the last time that when it comes to this subject, we would excuse you.
Yes.
Sitting there
to make opinions as well.
Make your comments.
Oh, thank you.
Do a touch screen analysis.
Madam, would have your permission?
No, because it is important. It is important as president of Atwag for George to be able to use his platform as host of Rhythm Showbiz A to Z and propagate the goodness of blogging. Look, just to end, let me quote what William posted one day, and I sent it to our producer when I saw it, and I said, let's discuss this matter, because I think it's a good initiative that William wants to embark on. William said, now that bloggers are doing the work of the journalists, they need to learn to write properly and also observe the tenets of journalism: truthfulness, accuracy, objectivity, impartiality, fairness, and public accountability in the acquisition of newsworthy information and its subsequent dissemination to the public. I am by this post launching a crusade to encourage all bloggers to spend some time to properly improve their news writing and editing skills. The bloggers are doing a good job and must thus be helped to get it right. Write it right. If you remember, George, about 2 years ago, I sent you and the producer a message and said, let's have a segment on this show. Right.
Yeah.
Instead of, say
it right. Say it right is for the morning show, so we can do right.
I sent you guys a message and said, let's have a segment that we will dedicate to writing right. Because it's important, George. Otherwise, the kids coming up are learning bad grammar, and I fear.
Thank you, Uncle Ken. Honorable, I'm going to come to you, and when I come to you, I'd ask how all these can affect the ministry. I mean, all these international. No, I'm not trying to trap Honorable, because they are the ones that are selling. You see, I always say that the face of Ghana is Ministry of Tourism and GIPC. This is the face of Ghana. They are the ones who are looking for investment. They are the ones who are looking for international collaborations. They are the ones who are bringing people. Everything you and I are going to do in December will not be successful if they are not creating a market for us by creating that enabling environment for people to come in. So, and George, you mentioned that sometimes when you're even traveling, you mention your name, Chief Mumin, they will Google, and then it's there. Oh, Chief, something like that, and it could affect you. So I'd ask how some of all these negative reportage and all sorts can affect your fortunes as a government. But let me go to the phone lines and speak to Zakaria Tanko Musa, who's a lecturer with the Ghana Institute of Journalism. Good afternoon, good evening, sir.
Good evening, George, and good evening to your colleagues in the panel, to Honorable Kweku Mante, to Chief Morgan, and everybody there.
Thank you very much. I have a very straightforward question to you. First, who, in your opinion, is a blogger?
Well, that's a very interesting question. That is something that is difficult to find.
Mr. Tanko, hold on a sec. Could you please lower the volume on the radio? I think there's a radio set around you. If the volume could please come down a bit.
No, it's off.
It's off now. Okay. All right. Then please go ahead.
I'm saying that it goes back to the same old question of who a journalist is. And that has been a very old question that has still not been answered. And to answer that question, you need to first and foremost ask, what do journalists do, or what do bloggers do? By and large, they are supposed to inform and educate, and some have added entertainment. And so anybody who in the business or who seeks to inform, educate, and entertain using various mediums qualifies to call him or herself a blogger or a journalist. And that is where there is a problem. But what differentiates a professional journalist, or if you like, bloggers want to be recognized as professionals, what differentiates the pedestrian blogger or journalist from the professional is the adherence to the basic tenets of the very thing he or she is doing. In other words, every profession, everything you do, there are rules and regulations. There is a code of ethics that is supposed to guide. It's supposed to make you do your work effectively and efficiently in a very professional manner. And that's what differentiates you from the ordinary people. And so bloggers, frankly, have come to feel a gap that was as a result of the weaknesses of, if you like, the mainstream media. The mainstream media has for a long time been the gatekeepers to how information is designated, is sent out. And so that gatekeeping role has been played by the mainstream media for quite a long time. and they do it in such a way that the way they define what should be sent out is so technical, and sometimes it's so myopic, and sometimes doesn't serve the bigger in public interest. So bloggers came in at the back of this whole general concept of citizen journalism. So they looked at it and said, well, fine, if I can also inform, if I'm walking across the street and I see something happening and I put it out there, I'm basically doing what a journalist would have done, to inform and sometimes educate as well. But what would differentiate you from that journalist is that because the journalist has gone through some form of training, and I'll come to the issue of the training soon because I heard your colleague talking about that. Because they have gone through some form of training, they know that, for instance, if you come across an accident and you see the mutilated body of people lying on the floor and all this, you don't take pictures and bam, put it out there. Because there are some code of ethics that says the sensitivity and all those things have to be respected. The citizen journalist doesn't understand it. So he or she would put it out there. And bloggers are doing something similar. So frankly, I know I'm going into probably what may come up later, but because of time, I'm just...
Yes, please. Yes.
Now, the issue of training is crucial. And when we say training, it doesn't have to be that the person has sat in a journalism training school for 2 years as a diploma or maybe a degree or a master's. No. As a matter of fact, the brutal truth is that some of the accomplished journalists in the world have never sat in a formal journalism training school. But you should get some form of training. It could be on-the-job training or whatever it is, but there has to be some training because you can't just stand up and say you are informing people, you are educating people without knowing really what is it that are the key things, who you are seeking to communicate to, what are you communicating, when you are communicating that information, where and how you communicate those information. There are some technicalities to that. It's not everything that you see that you put out there because there may be legal implications to those things that you're seeing. There may be issues about privacy. There may be issues about sensitivity. There may be issues about public health. So these are the reasons why some level of training is needed. I have done some training for bloggers, but mainly to do with the Electronic Communications Act because some of them were finding themselves into real trouble because of the way they put things out there. That was against the Electronic Communications Act then. That said that if you put out something that has the tendency to cause some sort of fear and panic, you have committed an offense. So I did some training to draw their attention to that.
I like the idea that you did some training, and I'd have to come back quickly into the studio before I get back to you. But when you go to the National Film and Television Institute, for instance, NAFTI, I know for sure from time to time, NAFTI organizes short courses for players in the industry. You know, there are people in Accra here or in Ghana that are holding video cameras that have never been to film school. You understand? There are people that are carrying boom microphones, shooting movies and stuff that have never been to film school. But NAFTI from time to time organizes short courses for them. Is the GIJ considering going into a space like that where you can organize, like a 2-week training program for practitioners in the space just to help, give them some level of enlightenment? Because if you yourself have said that some of the finest journalists in the world have never been to journalism school, and but for the publishing degree that Amayal Deborah holds, George Britton is over here. He hasn't had any formal training. And there are tons of bloggers out there and people playing in the digital media space that haven't had any training whatsoever. And you've stated that as a clear problem. Since you are with GIJ, don't you think it's about time you considered organizing some of these short courses at prices they could actually afford?
Well, GIJ has been running short courses for quite a long time. I mean, I am a product of GIJ. Almost about 30 years in the industry, and even when we were at GIJ in around 1995, there were short courses that have been run. I teach on some of the short courses about broadcast journalism and all those things. We do short courses, 2-week short courses. But you see, the truth of the matter is, and I think one of your colleagues alluded to that sometimes when they even write and people try to draw their attention to the infractions or some of the mistakes, they come very hard at the people. Some of the things I have realized is that, unfortunately, some of the bloggers lack humility and modesty. So because people have the platform, and it's one of the challenges that some of our colleague journalists do have, because we have a very powerful platform that goes across borders, that goes far and wide. And because of that, people sometimes hide behind that and lack humility and modesty and think they are purer than pure. In other words, they are infallible. But that cannot be the case. We should have the humility to want to go back and study. As a matter of fact, even if you've gone through journalism training, the face of journalism is changing. And what we were taught in journalism school in 1995, there are a lot of things that have changed, and you need to upgrade yourself. You need to go for some personal development. And in that, there are people who have never reached that any formal journalism training institution or have had any formal journalism training, and they don't want to have the humility and modesty to subject themselves to some level of training. And that is the problem. So the issue of
hold on. No, slow down. Hold on, and that is the problem, because people don't want to be humble enough to learn. I'm going to come back to the studio, then I'll come to you. That is a pretty interesting thought over there. People not having the humility to learn. Honorable, look, even just yesterday, or was it the day before, a medicine man, should I call him, he's our friend. Not that we've gone for some before. I don't know if Philip has gone. But he's our friend. I have had a number of engagements with Nana Idwafo when I was yes, when I was with GH1, we had a conversation. We did something on the dark side of GH music, the one that got me and the gospel people the trouble. And then recently, I think we had one on Joy FM as well. We had a conversation with him. He's a fine gentleman, and somebody went to him to kill his daughter for money. And in doing citizen vigilante work, did what I wish every medicine man would do. But brought in the police and all that. But in his enthusiasm, or whatever it was, he filmed the child.
And even told the child that you're going to be killed.
Yes.
You were about to be killed.
About to be killed. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that. You understand? But can you fault him? He's not a trained journalist. How is he supposed to know? He is not even a blogger. And that is the other problem with this too. So, Honorable, I don't know, how is it affecting you as a government, somebody who's trying to sell Ghana, these blogging issues and some of these false reportage, misleading headlines and stuff that are cooked up and put out there just for the clicks and likes and numbers and loves?
Okay. I've had some meetings with the executive director for Commission on Culture.
Yes.
If we say we, I'm saying all of us, because we failed at a point in time. Have you noticed that what I mentioned about the creative people, it runs through almost every facet of our society?
Absolutely.
We are unable to transfer our ethics to our younger ones. And so you realize that the people who are worried are the Uncle Ken and maybe spillover of myself. And the people who are the age group of the bloggers are saying, I like what you're writing, pa. You see? So it means there's a market.
So there hasn't been a knowledge transfer?
No. No. And it's not just in the creative space, it's everywhere. People do not believe in role model, mentorship. Yeah, I can learn on YouTube. His role model is YouTube. But there are things YouTube cannot transfer to you, because YouTube does not know your culture. And we've been having this conversation. We want to find a way we can fix this. To get the media on board, Ministry of Education, everybody on board.
But is it affecting you in any way?
It does, especially customer service. The customer service problem that we have in this country is a cultural problem. I didn't know customer service until I went to marketing school. But my father told me, treat people like you want to be treated. That is customer service. It wasn't termed customer service at the time to me. But when I grew up and I read the books, I noticed that, how my dad told me or taught me to treat people, that is actually customer service.
Has there ever been any negative story on you? Have you ever read something of the sort?
Me?
Yes.
Didn't you see my story on the one that they said I've been issued bench warrant?
Oh, There was a story like that?
Yeah, it went viral.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
They said you have been
For
issued
selling
bench
land.
warrant.
For doing what? Selling land, though. There was a land my old man gave to me before he passed years ago. And somebody went to break everything on it. Oh. One Alaji. He's passed. And he, Alaji, also took me to court that somebody went to break something. He cleared whatever I had on the land and put something on my land. Because I'm a law-abiding citizen, I am going through the right channels. And then he said somebody has gone to break what he put on my land. So I'm a suspect. So I've been going to court with Samson Ladi. And then I go to court one morning. Samson Ladi had sent a letter, a document to the judge that he wasn't coming that day. But I was supposed to report. But I was there.
So you were there?
And then his clerk, I think there was some gap in the communication. And so he asked me to go. You know when you're entering the court, your phone must not ring.
Yes.
So my phone was on silent. And he was trying to get back to me. And because I knew I was entering the courtroom, my phone was on silent. And so the time I saw the clerk's message, I got back and said, the judge says she needs to see you. So you must come back. But if you do not come back, she will issue a bench warrant on you. Before I got to the court, and an hour later, I've been issued a bench warrant. I have not seen a bench warrant myself, but it's in the news.
So today the bench warrant hasn't appeared?
No. I don't know where the bench warrant is.
It'll be easy.
You know, so, and then when in the political space, my seniors in politics will tell you that, welcome to the club. The new space that you find yourself in. The little thing, even if it's untrue, people take advantage of it. So I went quiet. This is the first time I'm talking about this. I don't have any voice on this. This is the first time. I won't even give you the details, but this is actually what happened. You know, we the traditional trainees or ambassadors of media, I remember when Tupac died, I have a friend called Kwame Chumbuafu. He's the younger brother of Kudu Chumbuafu. Yes. He used to send me every information from the West when it comes to showbiz. And it was because at the time there was no internet. When I got the information that Tupac had died, Mr. Kosuchum says, no, we are not announcing it until we are double sure. And so we didn't announce it till later when Groove FM or something. Yeah, that time Groove was the youthful channel.
Yeah.
So Groove.
Where music lives.
Yes. So when B.I.G. died, the same person called Kwame Chumbuafu. So this time we said we won't listen to Mr. Chum. So we announced it and it was true. Biggie had passed. You know, the culture of the old school was that let's do the editing, let's do the proofreading, let's be sure, double check before we go. There was a market that was not ready for the slow motion thing we used to do. Because it's about who gets the information out there first.
Quick.
When I'm kind first.
It's an age of speed.
Yeah,
correct.
George said.
Yeah.
He's right up. Yeah.
And so they also wanted their things very fast. Even now, some of them, when you are doing like the way we are doing our show, they're on their phones. And one line they write.
Quoting us.
So you see why I needed to correct that line, because I know it will probably go out there as
Which line?
as erroneous.
There was a part Mark
The one I said that you needed to better clarification because somebody could just write it. Yes. So that's cool, and there's a market for that. But we need the speed. At the same time, we need the ethics. How do we blend the two? I met Amaya Debra in Nigeria about a month ago. We went for lunch. It was the whole team. Pascal, Aka, the board chair for...
that was the AMCVA.
Correct.
A friend of mine told me it was raining at their airport. And then, not in
yes.
Anyway, let's go.
Yes, we will talk about that one later. Before the Nigerian High Commission.
Let's move forward.
We don't want any Vienna Convention issue.
No, I have a friend, one of their comedians. I mentioned, he said, Charlie, Ghana people, now this is your airport, in light Africa. Where my people did now. Chief, money, plenty money. One chief pay money go fit change Nigeria airport. They no go do.
So, but I think they are building a new one.
Yes, that's great.
So we went for lunch, and I remember I didn't know this topic was going to come up.
Yeah.
I asked Amaya what he was doing to change the face of, in quotes, what we call blogging, because he is like the pace setter or the eye opener of that trade.
In the space.
Yes. And then it looked like, the people, even if you want them to learn, they don't want to come.
Just like the lecturer said.
Yes.
Some
My argument is that even if you are only 5, brand yourself as the ones who know how to do the job and will come to you.
Exactly.
When we begin to neglect
the rest,
our cousins and our nephews, the ones who decide that they will not handle grammar well. And my challenge with the modern day writer is that it is easier writing today than the times of Uncle Ken. But the PC will correct you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Even when you make a mistake, he will tell you that, oh no, you don't write like this. You have to put a comma somewhere. Sometimes when I'm sending people WhatsApp messages, some of the simplest languages you think they are, you can speak, but when you're writing, it's a different ballgame.
Yeah.
The way you write are 40.
Yeah.
You write your 4 like a 4, and you write the 40 like that. There's trouble. Correct. But the phone will correct you. So why is it difficult? Again, even now, some of us can quote some of the artists and the history, and can have been doing that on radio. Today, let me call some of the DJs of our time and ask them who produced this song. They don't know it. But in my time as a DJ, I knew the producer. Exactly. I could even tell from sound. I read between the lines. There's a guy who did that. The young men of today do not want to go extra mile.
Let me bring Chief into the conversation. Chief! Honorable says the young men of today do not want to go that extra mile.
I mean,
to do that deep research.
As a student of Professor Audrey Gajepo, who sat in her print journalism class. I mean, definitely a topic I'm interested in.
Yes. Of course.
But we can look at it in two folds, right? One is an industry-wide problem that social media today has made journalism more democratic, if you were. So there's an issue that a lot of jurisdictions are dealing with about fake news and all of that, because now with your phone or with your computer, you can easily put out news over there. So in terms of the platform problem, it's not peculiar to Ghana. It is all over the world, and the world is still trying to see how to regulate. The spaces themselves are trying to see how to regulate it in such a way that will minimize the spread of misinformation. And then there's the issue of churning out of quality content. I guess when it comes to vlogging and all of that, it's easier to do, right? Not easier to do, but we may not necessarily have a problem with that unless they are churning out misinformation. So we are really talking about those who write and put out information and the quality of that kind of information, as Uncle Ken has been insistent on all this while. Part of the problem is just a general lack of ability amongst us to write from school. So you take maybe the average, Ghanaian student, maybe from a public school, and you give the person an essay to write, or you ask the person to write anything at all. You may come away seeing that the quality is quite low. I mean, after school, I worked as, a teaching assistant, And, some of the scripts I used to mark, I used to ask myself, that this person is in the university. So part of it is just the quality of literacy in our society. Because if we have a high quality of literacy, it will translate, even if these people are not necessarily trained. So that's one of the fundamental problems, that generally there's just a lack of competence when it comes to literacy. Writing and writing well is a problem that we are facing. So definitely we'll see a reflection of that in the people who choose to become bloggers and to write. And then those who choose to, well, you can make the point that there's always continuous learning, right? One can always improve, especially if you have decided to make this your craft. I guess for most people, they stumble into the job. Like something that comes, okay, let's do. We are not sure if it's going to be sustainable, but maybe a few of them get to succeed in it, and it's like a one-man business. So we don't even have very strong. I mean, apart from Ameya, who has employed a few people. Most of the other guys are just one-man blogger. Some of them are hypers and all of that. Ordinarily, if we had established, companies, media companies, that could hire, there's no reason why someone like me cannot be hired or you cannot be hired, right? But I also go and write for 200 Ghana cedis. So the quality is not that. So there's a certain level of quality that is there, but that quality, you can't pay for that quality because you are still struggling to increase your momentum on social media and get your likes. So that's also part of the problem. I guess the only solution the long-term solution is to increase the general literacy of our people. Make sure that people coming out of JSHS, SHS, their ability to write and write well, is good. People coming out of our tertiary institutions, that is a long-term solution, because if we have more people who are competent, then invariably those who find themselves in blogging or whatever you call it would find themselves in. And even in legacy media, traditional media, this thing is not just for bloggers. Uncle Ken would agree with you. Even newspapers, people have criticized some of our legacy media practitioners for the quality of work that they put out there. So generally, we agree that there's a quality issue, there's a long-term solution to it, but there's also an immediate-term solution. The immediate-term solution, shall I just learn a bit, or at least get
but George, how did he start his submission? How did you start your submission?
By mentioning Dr. Audrey Gajepo as a student.
Yes. Why? Because she transferred something to you. And that is why you still mention her every time you speak.
Yes.
That
is the most important part.
We have a culture of not saluting our seniors who have some unique craft that we admire.
Yeah.
If you do not admire somebody, the energy cannot be transferred to you.
True.
You admired your lecturer for what she has, the skill she had, and that is why you wanted to be like her, and that's why you are like this. But this thing about Uncle Ken, I'm gonna tell you old school, so how would you learn from Uncle Ken when you begin to say
But what's the structure though? Because Uncle Ken, if they came up, Uncle Ken wouldn't even have the time.
So let
me bring Sadiq into it. I'll come back to you, George. I mean, you mentioned something about revenue, and Sadiq, before you move on to yours, could that actually be the problem? Because really, I mean, why shouldn't George Britain be able to employ Chief Moomin? Because Chief Moomin, like he said, will not write for 200 cities, and if you call George Britain come and cover a Wonderland or 3 music awards, how much are you going to pay him?
Well, so lately they are seeing some increment in terms of the money that comes to them. Part of the problem again is the commerce or the market, in terms of the fact that there's already market for this, and that explains why some of the vloggers or the micro bloggers have some of the massive following on social media. Now, that aside, there's a part where established and properly run brands are co-signing them by giving them business. So today you realize that where maybe Joy Digital has lost this particular budget, the money would have gone to a particular influencer that sits on Twitter or that sits on Instagram. Where maybe Joy FM is not invited, when Joy FM is invited to cover a particular program, even from government, we're seeing a lot of these bloggers
are there
being involved in government communication projects and everything. So they are getting a certain level of co-signing from that, which makes them feel like they are fine. Because first and foremost, if I was doing to them, if they were doing badly, they probably will not, or if the market really didn't like what they were doing, they won't have that such massive following. Secondly, if they were doing bad, I'm thinking like them, they wouldn't have well-run or properly run brands giving them business, including in state organizations. So definitely the market and the commerce has to do with it. So in that in that instance, most of them will not think that we're doing something wrong. And they are different parts of the problem is that, of course, this is a global phenomenon across the world. Misinformation have become a big deal. There's a lot of funds spent by different organizations and CEOs across the world in campaigning on fake news.
Yeah,
you get it, and misinformation, and so it's a problem that's across the world. And
because it's part of the reasons Twitter banned Trump.
Well, that's part of it, but you realize that there are new owners of Twitter, for instance, that
want to bring them back
because they say
the numbers.
It's within their right to say what they want to say. And so
Sadiq, not to interject, to support what he's saying. It's not just the bloggers. Let's not make it look like
it's not just them.
True. We were in this country when President Akufo-Addo had cancer years ago as a candidate with a reputable brand.
Yeah,
the man is still here.
Yeah,
stronger than some of the young men. Maybe he's cured. I don't know.
So back to the knowledge transfer. Maybe they also help to try, because look, in Ghana here we've had the tabloids, particularly in the political space. We've seen it. It's been problematic. Some of the well-known defamatory or cases that have been discussed in this particular country goes back to that particular era. The same people or the group that are probably complaining today about what is happening now used to do worse with their newspapers. You know, I mean, screaming headlines that didn't support the story, or they had to lie about one thing or the other. And a lot of them, some of them have become ambassadors. Some have gone on to even become ministers from that particular line.
Yeah.
So today, this group, if these young ones are understanding or seeing what you did in the past, they are questioning and asking, who are you to have to advise them on this, particularly when they are doing well? You know, so
making money.
Making money.
Yeah. So
you know,
so doing well, you're talking about making money.
So if we go back to for instance, if we have a situation where in the era where Joy and even then we would have recognized that the well-run media organizations were the ones that were doing better commercially. You know, the well-run media organizations, they were the ones that were doing better. They were the ones that were getting the more money and everything, because even the brands and organizations and the patrons, commercial patrons of these businesses recognize that for them to actually advance money to these guys, this should be people that are operating within a certain way. But it's not the case these days. The bigger brands are looking for who has got the biggest following, who's getting the biggest conversations, who's getting it and giving them the budget and everything. So why would these guys see that they have a problem with what they are doing?
You're right.
So now we've established the problem. We need to understand solutions. You know, George, you haven't spoken. They are your people. You understand? You've had so many problems. Yes, I mean, it's his turn now. So we've come back. We've gone round full circle. Let us come back to you. Let us start with solutions from you. What do you think can be done? Because for me, my biggest worry, and I'm sure that's Uncle Ken's worry as well, is the grammar.
Yeah. Okay, George, let me start from the grammar.
Let's right anyway.
Yeah, not all of them right. But you see, that is the problem. You see, and sometimes the worst grammar actually comes from those who do not write. You know why? Because they are posting videos and pictures. But those videos and pictures go with captions. And the captions are terrible. Terrible.
George, so this is, I mean, 10 years ago, if you had asked me to name a list of bloggers, or probably online journalists. I mean, we had the likes of Obed Boafo, Eben.
Yes.
Eben Afom. Eben
Anamfio. Yes. He's a soldier.
He's a soldier now, yeah. I mean, we had the likes of Amia Debra, Nia Takra, myself, Eugene Kansa, Della Aglano.
Yes, Della.
Francis Ado, and all these guys. I mean, these guys were coming from the they had the experience. They were good writers.
Yeah.
But it's go to a time that the industry probably wasn't appreciating them, because I will sit down and write about a whole blog on, let's say, Tiny. You know, somebody will pick a phone and take a little video of Tiny, probably insulting someone and fighting somebody, and the whole world goes to it. So it got to that time that we felt like, okay, I mean, why would I even spend the whole time for an artist the whole day to do an editorial on him, and he doesn't share, nothing happens, and you know, we don't even get appreciation. So we moved from that bit where we were, because these guys are listed. These were the guys who were fronting the digital journalism, and it was beautiful. Like the last time I went to Nigeria, a friend of mine that I knew back then told me that I don't even know more about your industry now, because there's no platform or there's no website for me to read about your artists. Because now what's happening now is that everybody goes to events, I take a video, I upload on us and when it's happening, and that's all.
With commentary.
You get me?
Hey, what are you
back then, Nii Abossey of Talk of GH, he had this thing he was doing. After every event, he comes back home and sits and review the whole event. And yes, the event organizers will come and bash him, but some of us who probably didn't go to the event enjoyed every bit, because he was giving us details of everything that happened. These were things that we're enjoying. But today, after the video is done, I mean, who is a blogger? Send me a video, send me a caption. That's what happens. Oh, send me a video, send me a caption. Captions these days have been difficult to come by. As in, you send me a video and you want me to, you know, put my own caption. It's difficult. So some of the modern bloggers, you send them the video, you have to add your own caption. Otherwise, it's trouble. So until like we're saying, some of us, I mean, the bloggers are named. Most of us gathered at Pa John's place, where William and Co were there. You know, they had to put us through. What were we being taught? We're being taught that, listen, we hold a position in the industry. We are selling Ghana in a particular way. So whatever content that we put out need to have that, you know. But today, nobody controls anybody. My daughter can wake up and say, Daddy, I want to blog. It puts any video and put it out. But then we were taught that, listen, whatever we are going to do or whatever we're going to put out, we need to be conscious enough to know that it's going to have an impact on the country. some of us were able to contribute in the sense that we could get people in the diaspora to hear music from Ghana.
From Ghana, yeah.
Because back then, Ghana music, we were the ones promoting music from Ghana.
Yeah.
The likes of Amiade, Brian, all these guys were promoting what they were promoting. But at the end, what happened? You know, today.
Interesting.
Today, who's gonna call Francis Ado? Francis is still writing. When the media engagement or press release, press happening, nobody's gonna call Francis. Nobody's gonna call. Let me check the list. Della.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's gonna call. Maybe me and myself, yes. But some of the new guys or the old guys who are still relevant in the space, nobody will call them because maybe these guys don't do what some of the new ones do. Maybe after an event, Francis will take his time to write, let's say this discussion. Francis will take his time to write a proper article.
But nobody will call him.
The world is not ready. The world wants somebody who is going to share the video, a caption, and cut that part where Uncle Ken said A, B, C, and D. Put it out.
So you are advocating that the audience mentality has to change before.
Yes,
wow, that's interesting. Let me go to Amel Debra. Amel, we're looking for solutions. George believes strongly that the problem also rests squarely at the doorsteps of the recipients of the message, because the recipients of the message have sort of influenced how the message is couched or the kind of message that is served to them. Would you say same, or what solutions would you proffer?
Yes, I think so too. I think we've gotten to a time where even the audience demand or appreciate certain type of content more. I've had instances where people come on my Facebook and say, your colleagues are doing this, look at what you're doing. How do you want to make money? I get that from people saying that. But in terms of solutions, I think one of the main concerns we've raised is when it comes to news and writing it. I think the traditional media should not leave everything that happens online to so-called bloggers. They should also have presence and produce that same quality that they have to produce, so that people can consume it alongside, because the internet space it's big and everybody is on there, so they shouldn't say that bloggers are the ones doing it, so let them do it. And I think even Mark's story of the court thing came through a mainstream media outlet, because I remember we did it because we saw it on a mainstream website. So we shouldn't leave everything to so-called bloggers that they should do things online. It's important that if we can train, we help train. I get invited to schools. I've been to JIJ. I've been to other places. I go back to my school almost every year to speak to the students. And then people also, very, very young bloggers, as always, reach out to me for ideas and and suggestions. I give it to them. So I think it's important, like Mark said, that we are able to transfer some sort of knowledge, some sort of skills that will help direct this space. But it's not going to be easy, especially now, so that the space is so big. Citizen journalism has become a thing. Phones are in the hands of everybody now. People want to get reaction on things, so it's going to be difficult to control. But I think those who are doing amazing should be highlighted. Those who want quality content should get their source from places they can trust, and all of that. And that's what I would say for now.
All right, thank you very much. Let me go to our lecturer, Mr. Zakaria Tanko Musa. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great.
I'm
so
the discussions in the studio.
Great. So now we are looking for solutions. I mean, in a nutshell, what solutions would you also proffer?
Yeah, but before I talk about the solution, there's one big problem that is even a threat to the bloggers themselves, which is the issue of plagiarism. They plagiarize a lot, and that's dangerous because that's also a criminal matter.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just about the ethics, it's a criminal matter. And I've had instances where I had to step in and do a negotiation for bloggers who have plagiarized and they're going to get into trouble. But in terms of the solution, we can't run away from the issue of self-education. If you don't want to go to the formal education, and do some self-education. Once you have decided this is what you want to do it and do it well. Because you see, one of the things is that, interestingly, mainstream media use some of the content of bloggers as a source.
Sure.
But they can't use that if you're not doing it properly, because they cannot really allow you to get them into trouble. And the issue of feedback is crucial. They should allow feedback. They should have the humility to take in feedback. This Mintiovia attitude will not help anybody. If you really want to do the work, and now they want to be recognized as professionals, they should do what professionals do.
Thank you very much, Lecturer. Let me come back to the studios, and thank you very much for your time. We are not done yet, so you might still want to stay on the line in case we need some clarity on something. Uncle Gan. Yes.
You were asking for...
We are looking for solutions. How are we going to solve this wahala?
I'll remind you again that you are president of Artwork.
You haven't asked me for my solutions.
Oh no, I'm just reminding you about your position.
I haven't forgotten.
I hope you haven't. And so a lot depends on what your organization will do to help. And that can only happen if the people are willing to be helped.
Exactly.
As well. Now, just to bring this conversation into perspective, I saved something from a blogger that I thought I would share with you guys this evening, so that we can get the whole conversation into perspective. The title of the blog was "I Will Sue Bloggers in Ghana for Deformation of Character."
For what?
Deformation of character. Samini, your man.
Yes.
Then he says, it has been very hot this time between the two famous dancehall artists, Stoneboy and his godfather Samini. This is all because Samini came and spits out some words advising his son about watching his moves nowadays. The reason why Samini said so is that there are some news circulating about the self-acclaimed dancehall king Shatta Wale having a radio battle with the Sapashini dancehall warrior Stoneboy. He thinks, as his godfather, he should show a maximum respect to inform him officially about what he's going to do, so that if any advice, then he give it to his son. But Stoneboy never did. George, I'm saying that this is something from a blog that when you see the blog itself, you think, oh wow, this could be something, and then you read this, and I say to myself, it is not me that is in danger, it's the young ones coming up that I worry about. And if these people are not willing to learn,
they are the biggest patrons of these.
Yeah, they are the biggest patrons of these, talking about their favorite acts, Samini, Shatta Wale, Stoneboy. And this is the sort of language that you come up with.
Point well made, Uncle Ken. We'll see what we can do. Sadiq.
George, for me, I think that once we increase the advocacy, we'll get to a point where the market will shape up.
Yeah.
When with any new, phenomenon or sensation, you would have some of these things because we've not fully developed in that instance. We're gradually getting to that point where, obviously, for traditional media houses that are integrating today, they will see the opportunity in there. They will see that there's a growing base that are looking for proper and credible information. They'll weigh in on that. With time, they'll begin to build that base, and will begin to cash out on that. When we have a critical mass of these organizations, it would force others within the industry to have to abide by what has become the standard, or they won't be patronized, and in that instance, people would on their own. I think that with time, let's give it time, and it's happening even in the more matured market. There's a tabloid, the Perez Hilton of the world, and everything. Most of them shaped up. Most of them grew, got acquired by more established media. Huffington Post have been acquired by, I think, one of the more established
media organizations,
for instance. So they will begin to shape up, but with time, let's give it time. a lot of things. My fear is that there are too many new platforms coming up now. So now the attention keeps shifting, and if you don't take care, now TikTok has come in. TikTok now is taking the lead in the discovery of news and everything for Gen Zs and millennials. But I think that with time, when we've gone full circle, a lot of these things will take care of itself.
Will take care of itself. I'll give Honorable the last word. So let me come to Chief Mumin. Yes.
And good writing is absolutely enjoyable to read.
It is.
And you read great features in Washington Post or New York Times or all the other established media platforms out there, and it's just lovely. That's one thing we don't have. We don't do a lot of feature writing. I mean, I know that Gabriel Myers, props to him. He's attempted doing a lot of that, and I think he's about one of the few people who actually do features. I mean, among the young generation, and try and do it very well to international standards. But as I said, I also go with the market analysis. If the market rewards that particular kind of talent, you'd find that talent, because there are always outliers, right?
Yeah.
So if established media houses or even up and coming ones have the resources to employ the right people, and those people begin to garner some kind of support, it will inspire more people. If people see that, look, there's money to be made here, you would see the quality. So I hope the market would. But for me, the long term really is to increase, writing and good literacy, competency, and language in our schools, and hopefully a lot of our Ghanaians coming out of schools, a lot of young Ghanaians would be very good in writing, so that it will automatically translate to those who want to become bloggers or journalists. And those who are already in, they should make the effort. Right now, there's a lot of information you can even get online.
Free.
And once you practice and you write, you would increase.
Yeah. Let me come to Honorable. And you know the most interesting thing these days, Honorable, now when you do an event, a media, let's say a press event and all that, they appear, you haven't invited them, and when they finish, they start harassing you for money.
But that's always been a feature of journalism.
But you haven't called them.
Yeah.
Anyway, Honorable,
some people, that's their work.
Let me hear from Honorable. And Honorable, in your summary, you can add, the other things that are being done that we couldn't have an opportunity to hear, because we have just about some 6 minutes to go. Okay. Yes.
Let's face facts. Writing is not easy.
Enough of another day.
It's not. You see, it's not. I'm sure you heard Uncle Ken's writer.
Yes. Yes. The deformation.
Deform. It's not easy. It's not easy. And I remember this in my land issue. What one of the police officers said, "Hey, do you have land issue?" I said, "Yes." As for these are people. The man even came and said he had a letter of Anthony.
Anthony, Joseph,
not for me.
Letter of Samson.
It is not our language.
Maybe the chief approach work.
It is not our language.
That's what they always say. It is not our language.
Yes, but Honorable, it is our language.
Good. You let me learn like anyways. What I'm saying is that nobody is forcing you to write.
True.
Me, I can't write, so I'm not writing.
True.
I can't speak, so I'm speaking. It is a skill to write. You must go acquire. That's why they have GIJ and some of the gurus. Chief Mumen was mentioning.
Dr. Professor
that is their forte. That is where they have their strength to exhibit what God has given to them. And then you polish it as you go. What I think is happening to us is that people are not choosing their battles well. They just assume that, right in there. Because you see, if you have a role model, he or she will guide you that that's not the way. So you know when you're making the mistakes. But then there are people who do not even know they're making mistakes. They don't know. And so for them, just get a phone, get data, write something about somebody, monetize it. It is bringing money anyway, because it's true, they're making money. I like what Sadiq said. Let's throw more spotlight on those who are doing the right thing. Let's acknowledge them. Let's make them special. Let's make them feel important. So everybody will begin to want to, in quote, foreskin them.
Exactly.
And by admiring the admiration we have for them, you will tend to learn. Why is it that everybody is talking about these guys?
Yeah.
And they are not minding me. It is because they are the authorities in the space. You are not. And so it will motivate you to want to learn and get close. Again, Veering off the blogging or bad writing society. I'm sure you've heard of Global Citizen.
Yes, the Global Citizen.
Global Citizen is coming to Ghana this year.
I know. I don't know about the rest of the house. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We got some hints.
Oh, you got some hints. Okay. I have
they left Nigeria and came to Ghana.
I have met the
That's
team.
a big one.
Yeah.
With the South African High Commissioner. I know what's going to happen. The story around that is that years ago, President Akufo-Addo was present in South Africa.
Yeah.
And the South African president wanted to leave. So this is Koko's conversation. And then the one in charge went to say, "Oh, Mr. President, you can't leave. You are the host." Okay, let me talk to your guest. So they went to President Akufo-Addo. He was the first person they spoke to. That, "Oh, would you want to leave? Because if they left, then the president could also leave."
Exactly.
So they leave, and then it could give way to the president of South Africa too. President Akufo-Addo was the first. Said, "No, I'm waiting for Jay-Z."
That's right.
Even our president knows who Jay-Z is.
Yeah,
so they were forced to stay
Yeah.
to the end of the show because Jay-Z was coming last.
Yeah.
With the wife
Beyonce,
Yeah.
Yes.
It was like
And
3 years.
It's a 3 years or 4
Yeah.
years ago. Yes. And yes, it was supposed to go to Nigeria for some good reasons. That's why I say we should all sell our country in the right light because it could influence a lot of things. They're coming to Ghana. Who makes the money? Some of the people here.
The sectors.
The artists.
The
those who are
hotels.
the Ubers.
Yeah.
Because it's going to bring a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's also going to advertise
In
Ghana.
December.
September.
Yeah.
Yes. As at now, that's where the conversation is. We are saying it is happening in September. If something changes, we will let you know.
Okay.
As we go. Yes.
Honorable, thank you very much. And gentlemen,
George,
thank
are
you
we
very
producing?
much. Yes, we're out of time.
Are we producing the University show?
And sorry, before we go, Titi was buried today. Uncle Ken, you haven't said anything on that.
Yes.
Yes.
May Titi rest in perfect peace.
Thank you very much.
George, you were complaining, you and Mark
Yes.
were complaining about the fact that youngsters were not at the
Yeah,
young
the
people.
Yes, the younger.
industry
Yeah, the
were
younger.
not at the
Yes,
funeral.
yes.
Unfortunately, I think it's because they don't really know who Titi is. All they heard about Titi was the controversies before his death.
Well, you may have a
Amongst,
point.
you
You
know,
may have a point.
Most of them don't know about the Taxi Driver
Yeah.
series or whatever Titi did in
Possibly.
the past.
Possibly.
So sometimes this is the problem,
Possibly.
When people don't know about what somebody has done,
Knowledge transfer.
then that's what happens, But
Anyway.
he rest in perfect peace.
We're out of
He
time.
paid his dues.
Well, gentlemen, honorable, thank you very much. And congratulations. I wanted to ask, how the work has been. 344 days, but we're out of time. Maybe next week.
We're
hosting
he's looking
Ghana, though.
looking good.
Kempinski, so
What?
we can continue.
Mark is looking good, which means he's
We're
relaxed.
hosting him to
Work
dinner.
is
We are
going
hosting him to dinner.
Yes.
When? Today or
yes,
next week?
Yes, from here we're going to Kempinski.
We are going to Kempinski.
Yeah.
Who's paying?
Oh, don't worry. I mean, we're
Hey,
with
what
honorable.
budget?
Is this not the same man who was looking for about 1 million?
Yeah.
Oh, no, right now it's $3 million.
So, as you say, if
All right. Amaya Debra, thank you very much. Also, Zakaria Tanko Musa, thank you very much. He's a lecturer with GIJ. Shows produced by Philip Nye and Anita Tay. Crispy put us on social media. Billy is coming up next with Flashback. Special thanks to Chief Abdul Mumen, to George Britton, to Uncle Kennedy, to Sadiq Abdullah Abu, and of course to the Honorable Mark Okrekumanti, Deputy Minister Tourism, Arts and Culture. You heard it right here on Joy 99.7 FM Showbiz A to Z. Global Citizen coming straight to GH.